listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. We asked the question, how the heck are you, Miller and Moulton, on this Tuesday? Thanks so much for being with us. Hope your week got off to a good start. Here we are on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Magic numbers, 39.
Ooh.
44 and 51. And actually, there's like 6, 8 NFL teams whose rookies show up today. And that's after a couple, 2, 3 teams had their rookies show up yesterday.
Time to start paying attention to the injury reports, David.
Yep. And last-minute stragglers who may get signed in free agency. You know, Ndamukong Suh, JPP still out there, a couple of others. The Jesse Bates saga in Cincinnati, where he has vowed to not sign his franchise tender of $12.9 million and has basically said to the Bengals, trade me. So if I'm leaving in a year, I might as well leave now. And so the Bengals are like, well, okay, I guess we'll call around or answer the phone, whatever the case may be. But how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Is the home run derby over yet?
I think so.
Felipe, is it over?
My goodness.
It sounds like it just ended. It just ended. Apparently, the young lad, first off, he turned 22 yesterday, didn't tell us until like the very end of the show.
Right.
Well, what's up with that? We would have made a big deal about it. We would have celebrated it.
Well, I had to wait for today was the day when.
No, you didn't.
Not
No.
on your birthday.
Come
Hey,
on
it's my
now.
birthday, guys.
Yeah, hey. You know, that sort of deal. I mean, we would have had some fun at your expense. We would have celebrated your young life. You know, it's a big deal.
We'd have both brought in shirts that were older than you.
I mean, we would have, I think, made more fun and maybe understood the fact that yesterday was Pink Day for Felipe, shirt and Crocs.
Did your mom want a girl? Is that why you went with all pink? I mean, there's 2 boys. Is that, I was just trying to figure out why you were electric pink yesterday.
You and I wear pink.
Yeah.
We're comfortable as men wearing pink. We don't have a problem with it. And he was in a pink shirt. We did not know for a good chunk of the show yesterday that he also had pink Crocs. Then he told us he had pink Crocs. I don't know about you. I had to go see. You were frightened to go look at the combo.
Well, at one point, he came in here to show the audience because my chair was over behind yours. He came in here and did a flying karate kick, apparently. I have no idea what happened, but the room was completely disheveled. He had no sense of, much like a kid his age, of putting anything back where he found it, if you know what I mean.
I call it Sunset Vice fuchsia pink.
Is this like, was he like going halfway back in time to Miami Vice? Was he like meeting Miami Vice halfway? What was he doing yesterday? I don't know. But he was pretty in pink.
I'll be driving that white Lambo Countach with the pink Crocs.
So we're thinking, 22-year-old guy. He's going to have a big night, even though it's a Monday. Big night. Turning 22. He's got the town to himself.
Anticlimactic birthday.
We were going to go to a bar and celebrate, but I was like, I have work at 5 a.m.
There you go.
22 is, and I'm happy birthday and all that, but 22, very anticlimactic, isn't it? 21 such a big deal. You're able to legally drink. There's so much that goes with 18 and 21. My favorite was 25 because you could rent a car, but 22, there's just not a lot.
It is. Yeah.
That could be poll question, by the way. Which young birthday is the best?
Oh, 21.
You think?
Yes.
More so than 18?
Absolutely.
Gotta be.
Okay.
For you guys, it's
what do you mean, you guys? What do you mean it's different? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's different.
Well, the drinking age was what, 14 when you were that? What was it for you, David?
Let me tell you. All right. Bone of contention. I grew up in Jersey, and when I was 17, right, the drinking age was 18. And as I was turning 18, they moved it to 19. And as I was turning 19, they moved it to 21. All right. They kept moving it on me. I'm like, good thing I'm going to college in Pennsylvania. All right. They ain't moving that sucker at all. I can drink there legally. I look older. I'm the only one in the dorm with a car. I'm the man. I'm happening. Let's go get ourselves some beer.
Not in Jersey, though.
No. Go back home. Nothing. Relying on my friends to get everything. How are we going to sneak Moulton to the bar? And they card. I'm like, don't worry, I got a good fake ID. In fact, I got 2. That's what I majored in my freshman year. Fake ID. Come now, don't worry, we're good. So,
was that what you were implying, Felipe? That the drinking age was so much younger when we were turning that way?
Exactly
because it was still 21 for me.
Yeah, for the most by the mid 80s, it was pretty much 21 everywhere.
Well, think about it. He's the only grandfather on the show.
How? What in the world? Man.
Boy.
I know.
Should have told us it was his birthday before the show. Apparently, there's a little resentment there, David.
I was going to say, and of the two of us, I'm the one who's more nice to him than you are. Unbelievable. Wow. Where's this coming from off the top rope so early?
It's 20-year-old Felipe. You know, he's a bit more aggressive.
So that's it. Great. He's going to be more aggressive at 22 than 21. All right. Hey, just remember the den that you're jumping in. All right. You don't want us to get more aggressive because trust me, we've got it in us as well. So early nomination for which young birthday is the best? Think about it. Maybe it's too obvious. You think it is?
I think it's too well. I think it's either 16 or 21 because it's not 18. 16 getting the wheels, man.
All right.
I mean, to me, it's 16, 21. I mean, you want to throw 18 in there. You want to throw 25 in there because you can rent a car. I mean, you're really an adult then.
By the way,
they trick you. At 21, they tell you you're an adult, but you can't really do a lot of adult things.
Well, no, and you're still not financially independent and all that.
Right.
So, right. I mean, they're telling you, you're important, but not really. See, like Felipe can do a lot more at 22 than he could at 21. I mean, 21, he was still in college. He was still on a payroll. He didn't have wheels yet. Now, I mean, he's got wheels to go
and
with that
pink
outfit.
Shoes.
Right. He's got wheels to go with the outfit. Right.
Well, also, I'm graduated. All my friends are graduated from college now. What am I supposed to do on a Monday while everyone's working?
You know what? If you don't know, that's on you.
Right.
I mean,
go figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, go figure it out.
I was just chilling, relaxing.
Do you need a research paper to feel like you're back at old times? We'll give you a research paper. What it is you should do on a Monday when you're 22. Sounds like we can answer it better than you, but that's okay. It's all right. You're young. You're learning. Don't worry. It'll come to you. Trust us. Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday. So the home run derby ended a short time ago, which, it's not a problem. Except when you budget a 2-hour window and you've got supposedly the start of this, big Derek Jeter 7-part biopic that's about to air. And I guess 10 o'clock became like 11 o'clock.
Closer to 11. I know that when it was 5 to 10 and I decided to shut the home run derby off, they were still just getting the semi started. So
now I did not watch the home run derby. So I am only going by what it is that I have read. But from a gambling standpoint, apparently this was a bit of a debacle. I mean, I'm not reading it in any reports because, come on, it's an exhibition. It's a competition, whatever. Whoever wins, wins. But people gamble on it. I mean, I know somebody who I think Soto was like, I don't know, 12-1 or something. Well, though it couldn't have been that much because there's only 8 people in it. But I mean, I know somebody who won $1,200 on Juan Soto winning this thing.
good for them.
Yeah. But I mean, apparently you got second year in a row that Schwarber hits a home run that ESPN doesn't count. It would seem to me that's not a hard job, right?
No, but they were missing them during and I watched Schwarber take on Pujols.
Right.
That's the only part of it I saw, and that's just because I happened to be done with whatever show my wife and I were watching, and I flipped the television on for a half a minute. But it does go quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You told me before the ball's technically supposed to land before the next pitch is thrown.
Correct.
That's not going on.
No. Apparently, the rule is that the ball has to land before the next pitch can be thrown.
Yeah, well, that never happened.
Right. Also, apparently the batting practice pitcher is supposed to at least start their windup while there's time left on the clock. And one of Juan Soto's home runs, the clock was clearly at 0, and the batting practice pitcher had not started his windup, but they counted the home run anyway. And Soto won, I think, a couple of rounds by 1 home run. So, once again, none of us care who wins this thing. It's entertainment.
No, but once there's money on it, you would like to think that it's going to be judged correctly.
Yeah.
That's all.
Right. And we've talked about this going forward. We think the potential for golf is tremendous from a gambling standpoint. I mean, think about all of the possibility. You could literally bet shots all over the course if you really wanted to. There's 5 to 7 minutes in between tee shot and second shots, in between second shots and whether or not someone's going to make a birdie putt or not. But all the golf's got to be shown live if this is the case. You can't have tape delay golf if you're going to do live betting. I mean, obviously at some point, something nefarious is going to happen. So it's funny, here we are. Betting is going to become a much bigger part of our society. And in these events, live betting particularly, if that's the case, then you got to get it right.
Yes, you do. And by all accounts, they missed a couple. And look, if they didn't follow the rules, from what I watched, even close.
But a couple of youngs, one who's already a star and one who they think is going to be a star, ended up in the finals. Juan Soto, Julio Rodriguez. That's great for baseball.
Yes, it is. Because Julio Rodriguez is this young, athletic-looking man who doesn't have a lot of meat on the bone yet.
Right.
And swings the bat like a...
Hey, you know who he is? Juan Soto from 3 years ago.
Okay.
Because Juan was skinny as a rail, too.
Yeah, J-Rod's got a beautiful swing.
Boy, does he ever.
Plays for the Seattle Mariners, ladies and gentlemen. That's a Major League Baseball team in the Pacific Northwest. You may not have heard much about them. They haven't made the playoffs in 21 years. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. for listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I cannot for the life of me figure out what's up with that movie. Like, it looks like hot garbage, but I'll watch it because I'm an idiot, I guess. Mark asked me, is Bullet Train supposed to be funny? Bullet Train being the movie that was re-advertised 7 million times during the NBA Finals. Not that any of you watched the NBA Finals, of course.
Did you see? I know you saw the headline. I didn't really read much article with that MSNBC or CNBC hit, which apparently the CEO of the company, her husband decided to, or whoever her boyfriend was, decided to walk through the back.
Yes, saw the underwear. Fantastic. Yep.
So Elon Musk was shirtless and fat on his boat.
Yep, saw it.
Looks
I know
terrible.
Yeah,
but he can go shirt. So you and I there's a lot there.
Totally.
Just see, I mean, I saw that and I'm like, because
right.
for the first time ever, I'm one that has no problem taking my shirt off at the beach. I don't care, but I'm at pretty high density right now. I went with the swim shirt Saturday. I don't normally do that, but there were a lot of people around.
Pete Alonso is really built like a polar bear. Coming back.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. We have an early nomination for a poll question in honor of Felipe's 22nd birthday yesterday, which he only divulged pretty much during the bonus hour yesterday.
He was afraid of Tampa St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Lake
Really?
City.
I'm not trying to make the show about me, okay? It's the Miller and Moulton show.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But, I mean, you know, you are a small part of it. You know, people for the most part like you, they, you know, talk a little too much NBA, but, you know, that's all right. It's part of your charm. You know, we all have our character flaws. That's yours. It's okay. But, you know, birthdays are worth celebrating to a point. You know, you're still at the point where we celebrate birthdays, right?
When do we quit celebrating birthdays?
Well, I think a lot of people get to a certain point where they don't celebrate them. They acknowledge them. You know, it's my birthday, yeah.
Yeah, I plan on celebrating every one I have because the alternative
I'm totally with you.
is not having one.
But I'm at that point now, though. There was a time there where I didn't feel that way. Like in my 30s. Once I hit 30, I kind of went on a, you know, whatever. And then for whatever reason, I warmed up to 40. Not sure why.
I got a tattoo on my 40th birthday.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Huh. Anything worth talking about?
Not really.
Oh, okay, good. Was it a drunken bet thing? Was it?
Girl I was dating at the time, we were in the Keys, and she had a couple, and we were talking about me getting one. And I like frogs. Don't ask me why I love frogs. If I get one that's a frog, and we happen to be in some art shop, and there was these little glass frog things, and we walked out of the art shop, and there was a tattoo parlor, and she just looked at me and said, "Well," and long story short, I've got a large tattoo on my right leg.
Okay,
But that no one can really see, but
gotcha.
me. I'm not one of those that gets the big, you know.
Now,
I'd never be a big ink person.
I'm not an ink person at all. All right, at all. You know, don't begrudge anybody. You know, come on.
Right.
You know, it's just, you know, if you like it, that's great. And there are some tattoos that are amazing. I mean, there are. It's like, wow. But I'm not a tattoo person. There is a part of me, though, that thinks that if I were to get one, don't you get one that people can see? And it doesn't have to be a big tattoo, but don't you get one and you put it somewhere?
Depends. Are you getting it for everybody else, or are you getting it for yourself? I got mine for myself. I decided
right.
I wanted to get one. This wasn't about anybody but me.
All right. Make a good point.
I don't show it off. My wife has seen it. My daughter has seen it. That's, you know, that's about it.
Okay.
Because it kind of creeps out from the swim trunks every once in a while. And she went, "Dad, what's that?" And I'm like, "Well, it's my frog." I thought about at 50 getting a turtle on the other side because I'd slowed down a lot in those 10 years.
Nice.
Well,
Stay with
played.
the reptilian theme, if
There
you know
you
what I
go.
mean.
You know, at 55. Do it at 55.
Why not?
Right. Why'd you get the turtle? Well, you know, AARP. You know, just I got a discount at the movie theater, honey. You know, it was time.
See, David, I'm not a tattoo person either, but if you had to get one, what would the theme of it be?
Wow. That's a great, because I have never thought about getting a tattoo. I've never been, you know, hammered and with the guys, and it's like, oh, come on. No, it's just not me. And I'm good at saying no.
No.
Well, yeah, but sometimes under peer pressure, even people who, you know, in their business life or what have you can be, you know, firm and what have you, but when they're around their friends, you know, they cave. I'm good at saying no.
I think if you were to get a tattoo, it should be of a White Castle hamburger.
That I'm in. I'd have no problem. Boom. And you'd see it too. I ain't hiding that sucker. If I'm getting it, it's a slider and make sure the onions are visible.
Felipe would probably just get the NBA logo somewhere.
Totally. Jerry West. That's what he'd have. Jerry West somewhere. It's not a bad idea. Here's the problem, though. Probably in your lifetime, they're going to change the logo. All right.
For sure.
So if you get the logo, And then you're going to be 10, 15 years down the road, and you're going to be in your mid-30s, and you're going to be, oh, my God, they changed the logo. What do I do? So, maybe that's a question. We ask people, do you have a tattoo? Yes or no?
We're just lining them up today, David.
Yeah. I mean, most days we can't think of one. Now we've had like 3. Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday. We mentioned it yesterday. Just how you feeling? What are you thinking? And we mean about your favorite football team, college or pro. I mean, you think about what's going on right now. Rookies are showing up this week at just about everywhere. It's 3 of the 5 power conferences are having their media days this week. SEC started yesterday, a 4-day extravaganza in Atlanta at the College Football Hall of Fame. Not that, they think they're a big deal or anything.
Said it yesterday. We are a super conference.
And then you've got the ACC and the Big Ten that are also going on. Big Ten's at the end of the week. And poor ACC.
Why are you even having one? Begging the question.
Herb Street said something yesterday, and Kirk doesn't do a lot of appearances on ESPN during the offseason because he's on 3 times a day for 100 consecutive days. I don't blame him for going, hey, give me 5 months off here. But he did one of those appearances yesterday in which he said, I think we're going to end up with 3 conferences. So do you think the third is the ACC or the Big 12?
Well, I've always thought 4. Obviously it's not the Pac whatever. I would lean ACC simply because with Notre Dame not moving, it seems in the grant of rights at the end of the day, from what everybody who covers this sport, no one seems to have any way to get out of this rights.
The grant of rights is a damned if you do, damned if you don't. In theory, it keeps your conference together, but it then keeps it as a AAA conference because you're making 30 cents on the dollar compared to the SEC and the Big Ten. And so that's the dilemma the ACC's in. It's like, I'd love to open this sucker up and be able to get our schools double the amount of money because right now I probably could, but if I open it up, they could leave.
See, and I didn't associate one with the other. The grant of rights is with the conference teams. The TV contract's with the network. If the network tears it up, that has nothing to do with.
Well, but to me, if they open it up, okay, then it allows their school. They could get more money. I mean, I actually think now, Mark, with the way streaming services and networks are throwing around money, I think the ACC unchanged would get more than $34 million per school per year if they were up for bid right now.
Yes.
But if they open things up, then everything's open up. Okay, because if you think about it, then to open it up means to tear up your current deal.
Okay. I don't know enough, and maybe you're right. But the grant of rights is with the member schools. It has nothing to do with the TV contract. The TV contract's with ESPN. If they tear that up, it has nothing to do with the grant of rights, the way I understand it. And I could be wrong, David, but I don't see the two as the same because ESPN's already said, there's already been talk they want to try to redo this deal. That wouldn't have anything to do with the grant of rights.
It could, because the schools could then go, hold on a second. We signed up for, and now you're taking us down a road, and you could argue it's a worse road. Okay. I mean, in theory, they could go to court and say to the judge, listen, we were fine playing by the rules and we were getting $34 million a year. But now they've opened it up. We've lost ESPN. This is a detriment to us. It would give them more to go to court with to get out of their deal with the ACC. That's the gamble of opening it up, so to speak. Technically, you're right. But, I mean, we all know these AC schools have handed everything over to their lawyers going, can we get out of this? And if so, how much do you think it'll cost? So then if the ACC tears up their current TV deal, the schools will all call up their lawyers and go, does that help?
Have to have a conference that wants them.
Right.
The Big 12 and the Pac-12 yesterday said they're set with not going forward with any type of agreement. And the ACST is sitting out there figuring out what to do next. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
A bunch of cheap white ones. They're just going to rip them down and put what they want.
Now, I will say the two that are on the lanai are rusty, and they work, but they're rusty. They look like shit.
I'll double check on those, but I still don't think.
Right. Okay.
People come in knowing that they come in with the vision of what they want to do. Those maybe because you can go to Home Depot and get for about $1.20, get 2 new ones. Women's soccer team qualified for the Olympics. Boy, never saw that coming.
Well, remember, we've been in the Olympics since 2008 in men's soccer.
The women.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, the women.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a shocker.
By the way, I must say, I know it's just a friendly, but I did see the highlights or the preview last night. Man City and Bayern Munich at Lambeau is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Yeah, totally.
They're playing at Lambeau?
Yeah, I saw the commercial during the home run derby last night.
Wow.
Guy said, "Get Grimace eating a White Castle." DC, why do you think an intramural person would get an NIL deal? I don't even get what the hell your point is. An intramural player can get a job, is what they can get. They're not on a team. They could be an influencer on Instagram if they were good looking enough, but they're not an athlete, so they wouldn't get an NIL deal.
Yes, because if you're hot, young, and on TikTok,
Yeah.
millions.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday morning here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Jim Dunaway live from SEC Media Days an hour from now. Pat Kirwan at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Many different ways to take in the show, including on Twitch, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. If you're an Amazon Prime customer, well, they own Twitch, so you get Twitch. And there's many different ways to take in a show. You can follow it, you watch it, subscribe to it. You get a free subscription when you're an Amazon Prime customer. So make the Miller and Moulton Show channel the one you subscribe to.
Yours.
Yeah.
Take some ownership of it.
Yeah. It's like getting a tattoo.
Don't let that wife just use all the Amazon Prime for herself.
Right.
You should get something out of all the money she's spending.
Yeah. Think of us as your tattoo. It's time for
Five stories you need to know. It's the starting five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number one.
Come to think of it, a few wives out there might just get that Amazon logo as their tattoo.
They should. I think Amazon should pay for it for some of the shopping that certain people do. Hey, this is your 3,000th buy. You get a brand new tattoo. I sound like I'm doing the Price is Right. Come on down.
That was pretty close to that.
Moms sure do love Amazon, don't they?
Oh, man. Do they ever? Do they ever? Leads to a lot of recycling. That's all I know. Hey, the Home Run Derby just ended about an hour and a half ago. It took a while, but hey, Juan Soto won. It was entertaining. You had the first round battle between Kyle Schwarber and Albert Pujols. Nice to see the old guy advance to the semis. You had a new sensation, Julio Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners. He did something's never been done in this before. He hit 30 or more home runs in not one round, but two. In the first and second rounds, he hit 30-plus homers. To advance, he took out two-time defending champ Pete Alonso in the semis. But Juan Soto got the better of him. He ham and egged it, Mark, perfectly. Won the first round by one. Won the second round by one. Didn't have to hit more than 20 homers in either round to win. You got Julio hitting 63 home runs in his two rounds. Okay, and then by the time he gets to the finals, what happens? He's a little tired, and Juan's ready to go. And Juan Soto beat Julio Rodriguez. He wins the Home Run Derby and then answers a bunch of questions about where do you want to get traded to.
Seems about right.
But it was entertaining. And with it being in Los Angeles, the whole thing was during the day.
Look, I like the way they do it now with the timed instead of the outs. It's right. It moves along. Even though it took forever, the guys at bats move along pretty good.
All-Star games tonight. The pride of Cape Coral, Florida, Shane McClanahan, the former South Florida Bull, Tampa Bay Ray. He gets the deserved start for the American League. It could have been Verlander, but he's not pitching. He's not there.
And Dusty Baker will see this man pitch for the very first time. As he said, I've never seen him pitch.
I heard he's
Sure,
really
he's
good.
nasty.
Who do we think we should start? McClanahan.
Planet. I've never heard of him.
Is he good? Got to admit, we know why they did it. It's it's an all-star game. It's not a real game, so it's to celebrate the sport and the fans. And the game's in Los Angeles, so they gave the start to Clayton Kershaw. He did not deserve to start. He didn't.
No.
I mean, Alcantara, the Marlins, clearly deserved to start. And it depends on how you look at, if you're a fan of the sport as a whole, oh, cool, Kershaw in Los Angeles, he'll throw the first pitch because they're the home team. That's great, what have you. But then you think about it and you go, how many chances? I mean, truly, will Sandy Alcantara ever have a chance to be the starter of the All-Star game again?
Well, we think that he will because he's got that kind of stuff. However,
we hope.
you just never know. And when someone's pitched as well as he has, and you go back as a little kid, I watched Mark Fidrich start an All-Star game. It was a big flipping deal in Detroit.
Right.
They stunk.
Right.
No, I mean, they were bad.
Right.
And that was a big deal. And I don't know if it'd be the same with Marlins, different times and all that, but he deserves it. And that's.
I mean, it's a shame. I mean, listen, Kershaw's fine, but he's also only pitched 73 innings. Alcantara's pitched almost 140, and Alcantara's numbers are better, pitching twice as much. So it's a bummer. We like Jim Bowden's idea from a couple of weeks ago. Start the younger guys, but have the veterans lined up in innings 2 and 3 and let everybody know. All right, hey, we're going with the young guys. They deserve it, but the guys you really want to see, here's the problem. Ohtani, not pitching. Verlander, not even there. It's a bummer.
It is.
It's a bummer. If the game's tied after 9 innings
Yes.
tonight, no extra innings.
Home run derby time.
They picked 3 guys on each side already.
And they get 3 swings each.
3 swings each, and then we add up the homers. Then I guess do they go sudden death after that?
I'm sure.
It'd be nice if they could throw the pitches at the same time. Anyway, and in the sudden death, AL guy on one side, NL on the other. No, I said it'd be nice. I know you can't do it. I just said it'd be nice. College football, SEC Media Days got underway yesterday. Grand Poobah, Greg Sankey, went to the microphone. And he said, listen, our merger is better than their merger. Oklahoma and Texas, much better than USC, UCLA. How about that as a poll question? Possibility.
I think that's a great poll question. With all of your birthdays and this and that and whatever.
Tattoos.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that question.
Okay. Fair enough. No, I mean, what do you expect the commissioner of the SEC to say? No. Hey, listen, we're happy to have Oklahoma and Texas, but man, that USC UCLA merger, that is sweet. That is the cat's meow there. That is a bomb. I mean, come on. It shouldn't be headlines that he said the Oklahoma-Texas merger is better.
But it's a good question.
It is a good question. That's why we're going to ask
Let me
it,
get
right?
typing.
All right, you do that. Hey, the governor of California came out yesterday and said we may sue to stop UCLA from leaving the Pac-12. Apparently, Mark, they violated some rules and some deadlines and what have you. See, they're the public university.
Right.
USC is the private university. None of the rules and what have you apply to them. Trojans can do whatever the heck they want. The Bruins, apparently, they violated some procedure. Damn procedure. Gets us every time, I'll tell you that. So apparently these last 2 weeks, the Pac-12 and the Big 12, they've been having merger talks. And last night, the Big 12 called off the talk, said, this ain't going to work. Not for us. Sorry. You go do your thing. We go do ours. By the way, ours may include ruining you. But, we tried, but this merger thing ain't working. Did you hear Lane Kiffin go off about NIL?
I did.
Is he wrong?
No.
Lane said, listen, now that we've legalized cheating, we got a whole bunch of problems in that. Don't kid yourself. It's all about who has the most money. Whoever has the most money is going to get the best players. You know, the cynic in me would want to pull Lane aside and go, is that any different than it was 3 years ago? But boom. I mean, do we, come on. Put it this way. Is there a school who was not getting really good players 5 years ago who is now getting really good players?
Miami.
There you go. But in the past, was Miami capable of getting really good players?
100%.
Okay.
Always had a couple guys get drafted.
But
A couple guys.
My
Yeah,
gosh,
hell,
they had a run of first rounders
Yeah.
for decades.
That only Alabama just recently beat.
But to your point, Coastal Carolina,
Right,
Troy State,
right. I mean,
hell, for that matter, Arizona State. No one's come out yet and started to claim their spot on top of the college football world.
right. But, I mean, most of us agree with Lane and what he had to say yesterday. And on the same day that Lane was saying, hey, whoever gets the money, anybody been paying attention to what Texas Tech has been announcing in the last week to 10 days? First off, Texas Tech came out about a week ago and said, yeah, we're going to build this $200 million football complex. I don't know. Practice facility. I don't know. Chandeliers, waterfalls. I don't know. 200 in Lubbock, Texas, $200 million.
Goes a long way.
Woo-wee. And so now they've got this NIL collective, the Matador Club. Some prominent local business guy, an oil guy, he founded the Matador Club. They came out yesterday and announced that they're giving 100 football players $25,000 a year in NIL. I'm going to do some quick math. I think that's 2.5 million. Because if 100 guys got,
You got it right.
yeah, okay. So there you go. So 200 million in facilities. And now if you go and play football at Texas Tech, you're getting 25 grand. 85 scholarship players and the top 15 preferred walk-ons. So, listen,
I don't know. I think the quarterback's going to have a little problem with the walk-on making the same money he's making.
Well, maybe. Then again, playing time is what it's all about right now. And if you do 5 years, you make $1.25
In Lubbock. And that's spending money because your school's paid for. I mean, your room and board,
Right.
And your cost of attendance is paid for.
Correct. Yeah. So if you play for the football team for 5 years, you do your 4 and your 1 redshirt year, you'll make $1.25. What do you say? You think that'll help on the recruiting trail in the Big 12?
It should.
Do you think it'll move Texas Tech into the upper half? Because let's face it, they're in the bottom quarter right now at the Big 12. And I would certainly argue they're even in the bottom half of the Big 12 when the 4 new schools enter. Is that going to move Texas Tech into the upper half, upper third of the Big 12?
I think it could.
Okay. One other college football note, South Florida has hired Chad Morris, former SMU and Arkansas head coach. He's hired as an offensive assistant. College basketball, Duke and Arizona announced they're going to play a home and home. Good for them.
Absolutely.
Way to go. NFL rookies in Atlanta, Baltimore, the LA Chargers, Dolphins, Patriots, Saints, Giants, Jets all report today. Rams defensive tackle Bobby Brown suspended 6 games for PEDs. When asked why did he take them, he said, it's my prerogative. Ah! Ah! Oh! That's like a combination.
Thank you.
That's a dad joke, isn't it?
Thank you for that.
David Faraday, the big LIV move yesterday. Turns out Cam Smith, still a member of the PGA Tour. Henrik Stenson, still a member of the PGA and European Tours for now, although Stenson's literally meeting with the DP World Tour and European Ryder Cup people as we speak. But David Faraday left NBC yesterday and is going to be broadcasting for the LIV.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. They snagged him.
So the 63-year-old did, because they got rid of his show
Right.
at the end of last year. And he never did get what I kind of know what he was promised when he left CBS in terms of where his position was going to be in the broadcasts. He was never quite given what he was promised. So at 63, he's like, well,
Take some more cash.
yeah. So there you go. One other broadcasting note, Ed Olchuk leaving the Blackhawks. He's been broadcasting Chicago hockey games since 2006. And he's going to Seattle to work with our buddy John Forsland. How about that for a local broadcast? John Forsland, Eddie Olchuk.
They can just pick themselves up and do the TNT games as it's a home broadcast. Don't even have to move anybody for that now.
Going to work for the Kraken as the Blackhawks are getting rid of everybody. What in the world are they doing? Honestly, getting rid of all their good players, not named Patrick Kane. And now they let Eddie Olchuk leave? What are you, stupid? You need a good broadcast. The worse you are, the better your broadcasters need to be.
And they wouldn't give Olchuk the deal that the Kraken would, so Eddie Olchuk left for the Seattle Kraken.
That was the starting five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Remember, the LIV's talking with Barkley. Do you think the sport of golf is ready for that type of broadcast?
I don't know, but I think if you're trying to get younger and you're trying to attract a younger audience, and I know Faraday's 63 and I know Barkley's older, but having that edgy type of broadcast to me would be the way to get the younger audience involved. And that's what they're trying to do.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So apparently KFC's finally given in and they're going to sell nuggets.
Thought they did for a while.
That's what I thought too, but I saw something on Twitter about it.
Someone did a list here. I'm not going to get into it because I don't like how they did it. But they listed the 10 best sports days in America. They had the first Saturday of college football as number one, which I would, painfully disagree with. But it might lead to a good poll question down the road.
By the way, the one thing that I didn't like about the LIV broadcast was the broadcasters. Getting Faraday is huge. You're right, Mark. And if they get Chuck,
Who?
I was saying Faraday's huge because one of the problems I had was the broadcasters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday. Thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com, 394451. Magic numbers. 16 if you're into the Hall of Fame game. But 39 days till Nebraska Northwestern. For some, we'll kick off the college football season. For those like me that has a bias against week 0, I'll wait till week 1.
Is your bias against week 0 is that there's no such thing as a week 0?
Thank you. Thank you. It's like a grand slam home run. A grand slam is a home run with the bases loaded. A grand slam home run, it's a grand slam. It's not a grand slam home run. So no, week 0. What do you mean week 0? It's like giving 110%. You can't give 110%. You can't. It's not possible. Okay, what you're basically saying is there are other times in which you're only given about 88 to 92%. And now, for whatever reason, you decided you're going to give it everything you've got.
I love this. You can't give 110%.
You
It's not
can't.
possible.
You can't. You can't.
You can sure give 62%, though.
Yes. Yes, you can, Mark.
You can throw a deep performance out there all the time if you want to.
Right. And if you know what, you feel as if you need to raise your game, you make it 75-80.
Yep. It's a dadgum good point, David.
But you can't. I'm giving it 110%. You're fired. Just give me somebody else.
Wow.
Honestly, that's crap. You got 110%. Come on.
That high energy guy, not a big fan of that guy?
No, I'd take him down. Really? So what were you doing before? Oh, I was giving 100%. Well, how can you give more than everything you've got?
And still have that much energy.
Right.
Seems to me you were only giving about 60%.
Well, or at least 80. I mean, I'm sorry, you were holding something back. All right. You found it. You dug deep is what you did. And then you gave me 100%. Because what you've been giving me is 82. I don't know where that voice came from.
I don't know either, but I think he's a manager on the wrestling circuit.
We have got to dig deep tonight.
Or a politician.
You know,
I'm not exactly sure.
You know what? It's a little bit of loose Saban. Remember the old NFL Films thing? The Bills coach, he's on the sidelines. All right. And they had a lot of clips of a big late regular season game in Miami. They had to beat the Dolphins if they were going to make the playoffs. And of course, beating the Dolphins in the early to mid 70s was impossible. And they lost another tough one to the Dolphins because that was the Bills' history back then. And that was Lou Saban's voice. They're killing me, Whitey. They're killing me.
It went Southern, though. You added a
Yes.
little bit of a drawl to
I did.
it for whatever reason.
SEC media days.
That's what it is.
Right. Just channeling it. You were telling me about some of the fans that I guess they opened
I don't know
up
if
the
today's
doors.
fan day, but one of the people that both David and I follow on Twitter had a picture out of a couple of Bama fans. I mean, just ready to go. Just ready to go from SEC media days.
I mean, I'll tell you, we are just rolling today. It's another possible poll question. Can you give 110%?
No.
Well, but most people believe you can.
And we've got a poll question up already.
I know we do, and we like it.
I think it's terrific.
How about that?
And it's your poll question.
Which is even more mind-boggling.
With UCLA and USC going to the Big Ten, and Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC, which conference added the better teams? Because if I were to rank them, I would rank them USC, Texas, Oklahoma, UCLA.
So you got 1 and 4, 2 and 3. That's a tie.
How do you break the 5 tie?
What do you think? I think Sankey was on. Now, of course, he's going to say this. I mean, once again, what's he going to say? The Big Ten had a better merger? I mean, come on. He's commissioner of the SEC. But he came out and he said, I like our merger better. And one of the big reasons is regionally, I think it's a better fit. And obviously, you can argue that either way. They're right there. I mean, we're already in Texas. And, Oklahoma's just to the north. And besides, we got Missouri and Arkansas kind of sort of around it. So, why not bring Oklahoma in? It fits. But then the other way to argue it is yeah, but we brought in Los Angeles and really most of California because, let's face it, we kind of run the.
And I have a little UCLA bias because they've just never been, they've never moved the needle for me personally, not even in hoop. Because I'm too young to remember their greatness.
Right. I mean, Wooden won his last title. You were 5, actually.
So I have this and it's just a me thing, that I am almost anti-UCLA. I don't dislike them.
They just don't do anything.
Nothing for me.
I will say this.
That's what breaks the tie to me.
To me, UCLA has always been the then San Diego and now LA Chargers, their uniforms, their blue uniforms.
Yep.
With the gold helmets look great in the Rose Bowl. When their home uniforms in the Rose Bowl, they look great. Just like the Chargers in the powder blues look great. Now
it's a little different shade of blue.
It is.
I don't like it.
Wow. Wow.
Because normally I don't like anything like blue. The Chargers have a special warm place in my heart.
Okay.
For the Superchargers. But I don't really like, it's not even that I don't like Carolina
blue. Right. Okay. All right. See, Felipe and I, we're on the same. His eyes lit up when I started describing.
Well, I mean,
UCLA.
the man was wearing pink shoes yesterday.
I know.
I mean,
so he could dress. In fact, come to think of it, you should probably start lining up your shirts and Crocs per day. The Monday for whatever, you're going to be pretty in pink. Okay. Tuesday you could go UCLA, LA Charger something theme on Tuesday. You should probably think about that. Just have a color theme thing. It'd be very easy, by the way, wardrobe, laundry, just, I'm old. I think about those things. All right. So that's also, I'm just old enough where UCLA, I remember Wooden and UCLA, the very last team. And also, and Larry Brown took them to the final in 1980. They lost to Louisville, and I was rooting for Louisville. But anyway.
Weren't we all?
But also in the 80s, UCLA football was good. I mean, Terry Donahue, UCLA was good. And the funny thing was, people forget this. UCLA nearly played for the national championship in the 99 season.
They played 2 years ago.
It was what? No.
Or basketball, sorry.
Right. No. We're talking football. We're talking about the sport that counts. Sorry. So it was either 98 or 99, whatever Edge's, I think it was 98. It was Edge's last year at Miami because he was in the 99 draft. So it was 98. And UCLA was going to play for the national championship. But they had an early season game at Miami postponed because of a hurricane. And so they had to make it up the first weekend in December after they got done, beating USC and all that. And then it's like, if they beat Miami in this makeup game at the OB, UCLA is going to play Tennessee for the national title, not Florida State. And Edge rushed for like 300 yards, and that helped move Edge up into the top 5, and it knocked UCLA out of the national title game. And they have not been nationally, they've never been close to that good again.
And it will be interesting to see now that we're finding out that UCLA is in the same predicament as Maryland was for joining the Big Ten, that they basically have an athletic department that's broke.
Correct.
In
fact, they need a loan to be broke.
How do they get back? I mean, I know it's a ton of money, but when you're in the hole, you're going to be digging out for a while first. And obviously, if they're in a financial hole there, now the NIL can come a little bit easier. I do think the big cities add to NIL a lot easier than some of the smaller towns, but hard for me to envision UCLA and greatness on the football field.
Also, let's be honest. We think USC is an hour and a half away from getting their act together. And if that's the case, then USC can jump into any conference and compete. When Alabama didn't have their act together, they were 6-6. Once they got their act together, they're Alabama. Looks like we think Miami is
getting their act together.
And then look out. I mean, for those of you that missed 83 through 2002, it was something, and it would be awesome if it happened again. It really would. Same with the Gators. Gators a little down right now. They get their act together. Boom. It'll happen like that. But UCLA, I mean, where do we think UCLA is going to jump into the Big Ten? Out of 16 teams, honestly, 16 football programs right now, would you put UCLA in the top 8?
Let me just ask you it by one team. Would you put them ahead of Nebraska? And I say that because Nebraska came into the conference. They were supposed to contend in the West on an annual basis, and they've never done it. How much different is UCLA from Nebraska, David? Because to me, that's the first question. When you answer that, then we can move on comparing them to everybody else. But to me, just compare them to Nebraska for right now.
I think they're joined at the hip. I really
I think
do.
they'll be better than Nebraska.
You'd have to find some proof to tell me how that's going to happen.
Last year they were. I mean, Chip kind of sort of had a couple of good wins. And the last 2 years, Chip has kind of sort of been okay. Nebraska's still trying to get back to okay. But neither's been good for a while.
And again, I know it's about pumping money within the program, but sunny beaches versus cornfields.
But in the Big Ten, okay, believe it or not, and Nebraska's got more of a football history than UCLA.
Far more.
Yes.
Far more. But, I mean, UCLA enters a bottom half program. There's no question about that. They enter a bottom half. And they've got a lot of work to do to make it into the top half, never mind top quarter.
When we come back, can we ask that same question about Texas and the SEC?
Oh, you are just filthy today.
I mean, it is
Sure.
SEC Media Days.
Right.
And since we are going to disparage UCLA, I only think it's fair that we bring up the Texas Longhorns, who have been coming back for the better part of a decade.
Right. Right. They didn't have a guy drafted last year. I didn't think that was possible. How the University of Texas football program could have 260-something guys drafted and have none of them be from their school.
So I'll let you, Christian, Sam, ponder whatever you want
Look at you.
during the break. But when we come back, we'll talk Texas and where they place themselves in the SEC, since we did it with UCLA on the other side. It's Miller and Moulton. We thank you so much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Everybody, is undefeated. But anyway, I was thinking, everybody, is undefeated this time. Every teams are going great. I thought I'd give you guys the opposite of what a coach this time of year says. Should I do that? Okay. I tell you what, we had another sorry practice today. These guys, I don't know if we're going to be able to beat anybody this year. Quarterbacks, they can't hit the broadside of the barn right now. I don't know if we can hit that indoor facility right there. Receivers, they couldn't catch a cold. It was the middle of February. Dropping everything. Defensive backs, I wonder why they got grass stains all this year. kickers, gee, it's like the Army, left, right. They're kicking it all over the place. I don't know if we beat anybody this year, guys. Man. Leadership? No, we don't have any leaders out here. Guys are soft. They just can't. I don't know. Maybe I ought to give them a week off, start over, and see if we can regroup and find some real tough guys out here. But it's been a struggle this preseason. It's been a big struggle, man. I don't know how we're going to be. Have you ever heard a coach say that? Have you ever heard a coach say that?
Oh boy, here comes the video. They're removing the giant ketchup bottle from Heinz Field,
Josh
ladies
Pate
and
is
gentlemen.
doing like 4 podcasts a day right now.
The giant ketchup bottles have officially been removed.
I saw that.
Outrageous.
It's a dark day in the
Pittsburgh.
Inza City. What's its nickname? Steel City?
Yeah.
Pittsburgh? Mother-in-law still get over the Tiger missing the cut? She over that yet?
I have not talked to her. I'm guessing she wasn't very happy because she
Right.
does watch golf, period. Even if, she's
Right.
now, because it's Tiger,
Right.
she watches on the weekend. So she's got guys she likes. So she probably watched, but she's on the phone with Eve for a lot Sunday. So I don't know what,
Right.
and I know golf wasn't on. They go to Pittsburgh this weekend.
My mom was a really big Phil fan, and when I told her that they weren't showing Phil, she was like, "Huh, interesting." Still thinks he's a sellout, though.
Who's the sellout?
That my mom was a huge Phil fan. I was confused.
So
as to
she's
why they
not
weren't showing
anymore.
him.
So no, seriously. So she's not anymore.
She doesn't like what he did.
Okay, but as she stopped being, I mean, we can all be disappointed in someone, but I mean,
I don't know if she stopped being a Phil fan, but I don't know. She really liked Phil, though.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Poll question with UCLA and USC going to the Big Ten, and Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC. At the end of the day, which conference got the better duo? Right now, early voting, SEC slight edge over Big Ten. I went SEC. When the USC-UCLA merger happened, I thought Big Ten. But I'm thinking what Sankey said yesterday has been kind of in my mind that, hey, come on now. I mean, the schools we added regionally fit. That is true. We're not flying people 2,800 miles for a volleyball match. Even though I know nothing counts except football, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. Right now, 51-49, I'm going
It's
SEC.
right where I am. It's really close. But I'm telling you, once USC gets that hockey team up and running and they start entering the Big Ten, I might change my vote.
Aren't they going to be called the Anaheim Ducks? No?
If Arizona State can do it, USC can do it.
Here's the funny thing. Who's going to be better this year, the Arizona State hockey team or the Arizona Coyotes, who are playing where Arizona State is?
Arizona State.
Coyotes going to have a bunch of sellouts because apparently capacity is somewhere between 3,500 and 5,000. For 3 years, they're going to be doing this. It's going to be the oddest thing we've ever seen at that. This is the highest level of a sport.
It's a disgrace.
Yes, it is.
It's an absolute disgrace.
This is the worst thing. For whatever reason, Bettman, it almost makes you think he's got a financial interest in the hockey team there.
Well, you don't want to, I mean, with the people from the north that have moved to
Right.
that area and the fact that it's growing at the rate that it is, what is it, the number 7 market in the country now?
Yeah, somewhere between 6 and 9, depending on where you look.
Right. I mean, it's tough to just give up on Phoenix.
But we digress. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com.
All right. Back to the question before the break. I can't believe
Right.
I remembered it because that is one of the interesting things about this show that we can bring up a tease and not talk about it again for the rest of the show.
Sometimes we'll tease something at 7:13 and get to it not at 7:21, but 8:21.
Right.
Right.
And it's not on purpose. This is not entertainment tonight waiting for the last segment of the show.
No.
It's just that we got off on a tangent on the Arizona Coyotes.
Right.
But UCLA to the Big Ten is what we just talked about. Where they enter into the Big Ten. Where does Texas come into the SEC whenever it is they do come into the SEC?
All right. I mean, this is a fair question. Is Texas Tennessee? If you compared UCLA to Nebraska, is Texas truly Tennessee? A once great program, a national championship program. Tennessee's was in 98. Texas was in 2005. And now you look at both of them. Tennessee has not appeared in the SEC championship game since 2007. This is now 15 years when this year comes and goes, that the Vols will not be in the SEC championship game. Well, I mean, Texas the last 10 years has been mediocre to lousy. I mean, mediocre at best for 10 years. And so is Tennessee. I mean, believe it or not, the, guy they ran out of town there, Butch Jones, I mean, he had them 8-9 games, damn near beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa one year, a year that Alabama won the national championship. And Tennessee had the lead with 6 minutes to go. I mean, if we were to paint that scenario right now, people fall off their bar stool laughing. Like Tennessee's going to have a lead at Alabama with 6 minutes to play. Well, Butch Jones did on a team that didn't even go to the SEC title game. Should have, but that's a whole other story.
Is Texas Tennessee?
I mean, the drought hasn't been quite as long.
No.
Because they did play for the national title in 2009. So, Tennessee slide has been longer.
So you're right. They're a little bit ahead of where Tennessee is, but
not by much.
But just if they were in the conference this year,
right,
they're no better than what? I mean, they're not better than A&M.
Well, I mean, we'll just go by the West. All right. Obviously, Alabama, LSU, A&M. Clearly better. First off,
Oklahoma.
And Oklahoma. So
Oklahoma.
That's 4. And so now we start getting to Arkansas and the Mississippi schools. I mean, I'll be honest, are they better than anybody in the SEC West right now, including Auburn? Based on what they did the last few years, could you, in a neutral site game right now, program to program, would you take I know their name, But would you take him against anybody?
I'd probably take him against Auburn. They'd probably, I mean, I could imagine they'd split with the Mississippi schools.
Maybe. Right. Yeah. I mean, you're hedging here. I mean, we
Right.
don't know. We don't know if they are better than an entire division right now. Never mind, we get to the other side. I mean, today, not tomorrow, today.
And I get it. Arch Manning's coming. They've got a lot of other recruits with him.
Right.
We've heard this story before from a lot of schools.
Correct. They lost to Kansas last year, by the way.
And
Kansas.
And even with all these recruits, they enter the season with a team that didn't put a player into the NFL from a year ago. One of the worst rosters Texas has had ever.
I mean, they're not better in Georgia. They're not better in Kentucky. They're not. I mean, Florida's coming off the worst year second worst year they've had in the last 30 years. I don't know. They're better than the Gators. I don't know if they're better than Tennessee. Now, they may be tomorrow, but today, and their last 10 years,
maybe I need to revote.
I mean, you want to humor yourself. Look at the last half dozen years in Lexington, Kentucky in football, and look at Texas's last half dozen years and tell me which program you'd take. And Kentucky's done it playing in the SEC. I mean, they have really fallen.
So that's the crux of our poll question today. Which conference got the better duo of teams, the Big Ten or the SEC?
Now, I vote SEC also because I think the SEC got two programs that can be elite in football. And I've lost faith that UCLA can be elite again.
I'm with you.
And you could argue
that
if
was
they ever
at the end
were,
of-
but
Yeah, at the end of the day, what did it for me is that I don't have enough faith in the Bruins program. I still think that Texas, because they just care more. I mean, at the end of the day, that's all they care about is their football program. And I don't know how much UCLA even cares about their football program.
do you think that USC and UCLA's recruiting will get better or worse by joining the Big Ten? Like, will the California kids now, instead of going to Utah and Arizona State and Oregon and Washington, elsewhere in the Pac-12, will they actually go, ooh, we get to play Big Ten? That's better. Actually, we should stay home. We should go play for the home team now.
Doesn't matter for USC. They should always do it. I actually think it will for UCLA.
Help?
Yes.
It's a fine line. In California, they play football. In Texas, they play football.
Yeah, a year round. That's true. I mean, basketball is a big deal in California.
But I do think UCLA will get better recruits. Now, I don't know what that means. Does that mean that they're just a little bit better than Nebraska and they're on par with the Minnesotas of the world now?
Now, we've said this for a long time with the schools in Florida. If so-and-so gets 1 through 25, well, if the other gets 26 through 50, they're going to do pretty well. I mean, think about if you're UCLA. If you got 26 through 50 every year in the state of California, how good would you be?
Be contending for national titles, David.
Miller and Moulton. Live SEC Media Days report next.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com.
If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. FLGolfCarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, FLGolfCarts.com. FLGolfCarts.com. Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
No, if I'm the Mets, I'm calling the Angels. Going, what can we do? What can we do? And by the way, you got the left-handed reliever that we had last year who was lights out. We need him back. Throw him in.
Did you see the story? Because when your wife does, she'll freak out about the family services people that said that everything was okay. Paperwork for a family and the mom had killed the kids.
No. Do you know what happened yesterday? In North Carolina, in the legislature, they introduced a bill that if you help someone get an abortion, you are to be killed. Yes. It was introduced in the North Carolina legislature yesterday. And what was the other thing? There's one other thing that kind of stopped you in your tracks yesterday. I'll have to remember it. No, fam, you know what's interesting? Sarkisian is recruiting. And he's doing a really good job. He's never won more than 8 games as a head coach, though. But apparently this Quinn Evers started to get guys to come to Texas, and he actively was involved in the recruiting of Arch Manning. And supposedly the deal is Evers is going to quarterback this year and next, and Arch will back him up, in theory, redshirt 2023. And then Evers will go to the NFL, and then Arch will play 24 and 25. And then Arch will go to the NFL. But, you know, it's tough for us to have faith in Texas. They couldn't beat Big 12 teams the last 10 years. They're going to beat SEC teams? Well, fam, you got to remember, money's not an issue with the family. And also, it's all about the destination. It's all about getting to the NFL and being best prepared for when they get to the NFL. So does it really matter to Arch Manning in the grand scheme of things if he plays 2 years at Texas or 3? I mean, it's all about getting to Sundays and being in the best position possible on Sundays. I mean, I can argue it's better to play 1 year less because it's less wear and tear for a running back, a receiver, a quarterback, honestly. You know. And fam, my guess is he won't redshirt in 2023, but he'll be the backup and he'll get into a few games and, that sort of deal.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Pat Kirwan to join us, talk all things NFL at the top of the hour with rookies reporting yesterday in Buffalo and Las Vegas and reporting at about 8 NFL franchises today. Jim Dunaway, co-host of Next Round Live. Next Round Live, you can find it at nextroundlive.com and all the social media platforms. He's live at SEC Media Days in Atlanta. Follow Jim on Twitter at Jim Dunaway. Jim, D-U-N-away. Jim, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm sitting here on the second floor of the College Football Hall of Fame overlooking a mostly empty arena where Nick Saban will start the day off in a little bit. So excited on a rainy day in Atlanta. Pretty pumped up, ready to go.
Well, Jim, yesterday, a lot of takeaways, I'm sure, but Greg Sankey basically saying the SEC already is a super conference. That was my biggest takeaway from yesterday. What was your biggest takeaway from yesterday?
When he said it, I said, that's the headline. And when he goes on and says that the Texas-Oklahoma move trumps the USC-UCLA move, those were strong words from the commissioner. But I think we would all agree with that, right? USC may at some point be a bigger brand, a better program. It has potential, but I don't think you can pair UCLA with USC and trump Texas and Oklahoma. So I agreed with the commissioner. I like the way he starts this off with the state of the conference every year, and I thought that was a true statement. I thought most SEC fans wanted to hear that.
Jim, the other thing that I took was he genuinely, because Greg Sankey's not full of a lot of BS, that he genuinely seemed to give the impression, I'm fine at 16, really not feeling the urge to go any bigger.
That's true. He's also a guy who says he's, fine with a 2-team playoff because the SEC was always in there. He's fine with 4 because oftentimes it's 2 teams playing for the championship like last year. He's okay with expanding. He just, he's okay with whatever they want to do. He likes the SEC's positioning. I think the sources around me that I've talked to over the last few months, 16 is a good number for the SEC, but they've got a plan for 18. They've got a plan for 20 if they need one. The Carolinas and the Virginias may be the next frontier, but I've been in this league long enough to know that the best 2 fits culturally for the SEC is Clemson and Florida State. Whether or not that is something the Florida State or Clemson people will ever be interested in, or whether or not the Florida people will ever be interested in and letting Florida State in without, pitching a fit. I found it ironic over the years. I don't know about you guys. I'd always heard that there was this blackball ability for the original, the 10 that was left from the original conference, that Kentucky could blackball Louisville, Florida could blackball Florida State. Apparently that did not come along with Texas A&M, who's having to watch Texas join the league. But if we're just going to pick 2 teams that would fit in great with the SEC, it has always been Clemson and Florida State for me.
And Jim, to your point, we think that it maybe Florida and Georgia with Georgia Tech, even though that's not one you mentioned, and South Carolina with Clemson, maybe they have that. But when Texas came in the league, we're of the opinion that ended for Florida and Georgia and South Carolina if the opportunity ever arises again. I don't know what you think, but I thought when Texas came in with A&M that maybe the gloves were off for the other schools being able to hold back Clemson and Florida State.
I agree 100% with you guys. Felt that way when Texas A&M could not keep that from happening. And, you throw Louisville out there with Kentucky, Clemson, and South Carolina. There's some really good parts that the SEC could go after if they have to. But 16 is such a good number when you start talking about a 9-game schedule, the 3-6-6 model where you rotate through the league every other year. That excites me as a guy who loves to see the matchup. So one thing I don't want is Texas and Oklahoma to come to this league and they never end up on my campus. I can't think of a fan base who wants 2 new teams with those brands that never gets to see them in their hometown, in their home stadium.
Jim Dunaway, co-host of Next Round Live. Next Round Live, you can find it, nextroundlive.com, and on all the social media platforms. Follow Jim on Twitter at Jim Dunaway. By the way, what is it that you're hearing in terms of when they get to 16? Will it be 14 pods? We're going to go 8 and 8. They're going to move the Alabama schools to the east. What are you hearing?
It'll be one conference, no divisions. And the pod system is always a scheduling pod. I don't think it was ever designed to set up a playoff system like you have in the NFL where, pod 1 champion would play pod 3 champion, pod 2 versus pod 4. I think we would, when we go 16 as an SEC, when I say we, Southern boy, I can't get that out of me, 16 teams, no divisions. And the pod discussion has always been scheduling pods, not 4 divisions, from what I'm told.
And Texas and Oklahoma, they've been pretty adamant that they're going to stay through the rest of their contractual obligations with the Big 12. Do you believe that, Jim?
I don't. I think eventually the money is so big that ESPN, ABC, Disney, with what they owe Texas with the Longhorn Network, that deal that, who watches the Longhorn Network now, there's payments to be made, money to be arranged, maybe even a loan on some of your shares in the future that could help pay out Oklahoma and Texas to get them here earlier. I don't know if it's 23, but whenever we decide to expand the college football playoffs, I think that would be a good time for that to happen. If that's 25, that's 25. But the commissioner has to say that, for all the legalese and everything. He has to say it's July 1, 2025, because that's not his battle. That's an Oklahoma and Texas discussion. But there's money to be, offered to Texas and Oklahoma if it becomes if they desire to do that. And I don't think there's an urgency to get them in this league until we have a decision on what we're going to do with the playoffs. Because you throw Texas and Oklahoma in here and we're still at 4 teams. I mean, we're leaving some really good football teams out. We've got to go to 12, 8 or 12 if we're going to have these, super leagues with USC and UCLA and Texas and Oklahoma joining, just to get the best 4, 8, 12 teams in the country into these things.
Just throwing this out there. Big 12 commissioner yesterday said he's open to Oklahoma and Texas leaving early. That's the first time that's ever been said by a Big 12 commissioner before. I think it opens the door for them to leave 1 year early, 2024. And Jim, we've always believed that Oklahoma and Texas were never going to play a game on CBS. And CBS has the rights for 2 more years. But when ABC, ESPN gets the rights in 2024, we're of the belief, like you, that Oklahoma and Texas will somehow, some way. In fact, their very first games in the SEC, I have a feeling, will be 3:30 on ABC in 2024. You said, the sources you talked to, if they were to go to 18, if they were to go to 20. So who would they be?
I like Clemson and Florida State. I said 2 others that have buzz are Virginia Tech and NC State. And, that widens the footprint even more into the state of Virginia and into the state of North Carolina. Those are 2 programs that have, if you've ever been around them, they've got some SEC qualities, more than Missouri, in my opinion. I've always thought Texas A&M and Arkansas have been great fits. South Carolina has been a great fit. Missouri still doesn't fit to me. I don't know how you guys feel. And if it was Jim in charge of the SEC, I would like to add Clemson and Florida State and not worry about increasing the map any. Let's go with 2 teams, 2 programs, 2 fan bases that I can relate to. But I hear Virginia Tech and NC State has a lot of buzz too. And that may be just to counter the sexy pick for the Big Ten. If they raid the ACC academically, with the whole belief system of what collegiate athletics should be, has always been North Carolina and Virginia, the Cavaliers and the Tar Heels as possible additions to the Big Ten. I think that would sort of counter the footprint if the Big Ten went that way.
Jim Lane yesterday talked about a salary cap, and I know it was more tongue-in-cheek and not having any idea about NIL. Was there anybody in your estimation that offered any good ideas about NIL?
No, if you go back and look at the Nick Saban clip from Birmingham about 60 days ago, I'm the bald-headed guy with the glasses that asked that question sitting next to him, that he went on the rant about Texas A&M. That's me. I'm the old guy sitting there. I'm the one that asked that question. And I think you've got the greatest coach in college football history there who also wants to know what we're doing. And that's the problem. It's all over the board. And there's really no guardrails right now. And when I sat beside him that night and he was saying Texas A&M bought every one of their players, he wasn't insinuating they were violating any rules. I took it as he was telling, this was 1,000 of the big money people in the central Alabama area that have brought the World Games to Birmingham. That's what the event was for, 50 days until the World Games that just wrapped up. And he was telling all the big business people of Birmingham, look, they bought every player, and if this is going to be the rules, you've got to get ready to jump into that game. That's going to be the game we're going to have to play down the road. I'm paraphrasing his words. And that's where Lane Kiffin is coming from. That's where everyone's coming from. What are the rules? Oh, can we do it like Texas A&M? Is that the way it's going to be done? Then we got to do it like that, or are we going to do it like this? So I think there's been some misinterpretations in year one of what it's going to be. And moving into year two, I think right now it's just, every wallet for itself.
Jim, our belief is that the money's been out there. But in a lot of cases, the money went to the schools and they built buildings and they, had chandeliers in the locker room and, and what have you. But now they're going to have to give the money to the kids. And, the university is going to have to raise money some other way if they want to build new buildings, et cetera. Or is that an off-base thought process that instead of, trickling down, so to speak, we're going to have to give it to the kids and you're going to have to go look for your money to go build a new science building elsewhere?
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly right. You're hoping if you're in the science department at State University, you've got some big fans of science who have deep wallets that want to donate to you and not donate to the athletic program. But the athletic boosters who have also built buildings, their money's going to be in somewhere else. I mean, I don't think Ryan Day, he sort of backed off his comments earlier this year, but, he talked about, about $13 million a recruiting class is what he's going to need. And he backed off of that a little bit, but I think he truly believes, that's a good number. I thought that was a good guess, about $13 million a recruiting class, and that may be higher than that. And that money has to come from somewhere. Listen, I don't run around in great circles, but all my closest friends are Auburn graduates. And we're on the golf course, and they're telling me we've been hit up. Do we want to contribute this to the collective? Do we want to do this? Do we want to do that? And trust me, my guys are more burgers and fries than they are steaks and lobsters.
Jim Dunaway, live from SEC Media Days. Nick Saban going to speak in a bit. Jim's co-host of Next Round Live. Next Round Live. Find it at nextroundlive.com and on all social media platforms. Follow Jim on Twitter at Jim Dunaway, Dunaway. Jim, thanks for agreeing to do this. Good luck with your busy rest of the week, and hopefully we can catch up again.
Oh, I would love to do it sometime. Can I just say quickly, you guys have amazing voices. I love the intensity it sounds. It feels like it's the start of something important when I hear you guys on the air. It's fantastic.
Voices, but no talent. That's the problem.
Thanks so much, Jim. Really appreciate you doing this.
See you, man.
Jim Dunaway, kind enough to join us live in Atlanta. I think they open the doors in 8 minutes.
And Nick's first up.
Yeah, I might as well. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Zip in, zip out. Get me back to Birmingham.
Just good. I'm done by lunch. This is fantastic.
In fact, he's probably going back to West Virginia. About another week before he's got to get after it.
Jim Dunaway joining us here on Miller and Moulton.
Can't wait to see what this show's like at the start of college football. It's like Christmas.
You mean this show?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Football season's phenomenal. I mean, I give the countdown for the fans. I mean, you know we do, Mark. We really do give the countdown for the fans. It's also a little bit for Miller and Moulton.
The damn right it is, because I got excited today when David said 39. I'm, ooh, that's a 3. That's starting to be something I can wrap my arms around there.
39, 44, 51, week 0, week 1, and then week 1 of the NFL season, Bills and Rams. And for those of you into this sort of thing, rookies showing up today for the Falcons, Ravens, Chargers, Dolphins, Patriots, Saints, Giants, and Jets.
To tell you how much we get excited about football season, Felipe, there is one word that David and I really detest, and that word is meeting. We don't like meetings. We've never liked meetings. We've basically been fired from jobs because of our enthusiasm or lack thereof in meetings. David and I had a meeting last week with one another to get ready for football season.
Wow.
We sat down and started mapping out guests and how we're going to do the show during football season. That's
at our annual football meeting.
One a year we have.
Yep. Usually there's food or drink involved. Not this time. It was just food for me, not for Mark. He had coffee. Miller and
Friday's coming back.
Here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. What's our poll question?
Poll question is, which conference got the better teams, the Big Ten or the SEC? The Big Ten adding USC, UCLA, the SEC getting Texas and Oklahoma. Which conference got the best duo? Go to that Mark Miller, the Devin Moulton, or flsportsnetwork.com. Thanks for listening. Pat Kirwan on the other side, right here on the Florida Sports Network. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Rick Russell.
Rick Russell.
Russell.
Yeah. That was just a bomb, too. And then Boggs homers. They go back to back to start the game for the AL. That's Derek Lowe. That's when Bonds picks him up. That was the game that ended in the tie.
Might as well go 41.
Well, I mean, you might as well because he goes to war shortly thereafter. Third year in the
All
league.
right. I'm trying to figure out the 4 moments that are better than these two. We don't even have the camera high enough because that thing was another 30 feet up there.
Stewardess on it.
I wanted to let you guys have your SEC talk, of course, but I wanted to, because I had an idea for a poll question around the home run derby, but I wanted to ask you guys about it first. Do you think that they use cork bats
No.
or they juice balls?
Maybe. Maybe on the balls, but not the bats.
And if they do you like it or not? Like, do you have a problem with it?
I don't care.
No, he does. He's never cared, and I don't. It's an exhibition. I don't care.
Exactly. But there's no ways they use cork bats. There's no way.
Well, they don't have to. Quite frankly, they don't.
It's true.
A collision doesn't happen today because he's not allowed to block the plate.
Mello, I probably asked you this question before, but is the name Mello, does it have anything to do with Carmelo?
What?
Mello. Look, Mello Debbie Dunleavy. Does the name
No.
Mello have anything to do with Mello?
No, I don't believe so.
Oh, look, basketball nickname.
Oh, wow.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Just like that. It's 8 o'clock. Final hour of Miller and Moulton, Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte to Venice. Thanks so much for being with us. And for those of you in the 239, well, the bonus hour is just an hour away. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Pat Kirwan, kind enough to join us once again. McKee of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, weekday afternoons from 3 to 7. Pat joins us courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and a dozen locations in between Pinchers because you can't fake fresh. All right, rookies are showing up. Next week's veterans. What are you, week and a half, 2 weeks away from traveling?
Just rub it in, David. Just make sure I feel lousy at the start of this little spot with you. When we get out, look, I love the tour. We're preparing like crazy for it, breaking down every position group and all that business. But this year might be a little different with the airlines. So the problem for us will be, and we're going almost every night on the plane, a couple of drive times, which are fine. But if the flight gets canceled,
right,
and we can't get to that next city by the next morning, we will lose our turn in the cycle of the camp tour, and then we might have to skip a couple teams. That's what would bother me the most. So, well, hopefully it doesn't happen, but I think the way the airlines are right now, it probably will. I don't think we can get away with, I don't know what it is, 12 flights and get all 12 cleanly done. So that's the only anxiety. Otherwise, the football part, I'm fired up about it. And I was really interested in listening to Joe Shane this morning and his quotes about how nervous he is. Well, welcome to the club of GMs, because the second those rookies show up, there's a risk of injury. Somebody's going to fall over the curb. Someone's going to slip in the weight room, whatever. And then you're still worried about guys failing the drug test and many other things. So I understand his anxiety, and it's his first time doing it. And he knows what we've been talking about on this show. There's not a lot of guys left on the free agent market if their name isn't Sue.
Well, Pat, that's where I wanted to start. And I know we keep going back to Cleveland, but literally the Browns, making comments that they're going to have to find a backup quarterback if Deshaun Watson gets suspended for any length of time. Duh. I mean, we've only been talking about this for months. For the life of me, one, why have they waited so long? And two, who the hell are they going to get?
Yeah, it's a great question, Mark. And the answers are slim to none. And so they could have, in my opinion, easily put another quarterback on this roster back when there were a couple guys available. And at the end of the spring, really, when they get the Watson thing resolved, if let's say Watson's cleared to play, then they're going to cut either Dobbs or the kid they brought in, depending on how the spring goes. But they didn't do that. They're pretty sure, I think, that something's going to happen, and they're going to be left. Like one guy yesterday goes, "Well, we just signed Cam Newton." Cam Newton. They put Sam Darnold back on the field for Cam Newton last year. Cam's not exactly the kind of guy you bring in and he figures out your offense real fast. He's a different guy, and I think that would be a problem. So, and then of course, people want to read into, well, they're never going to trade for Garoppolo. Didn't you hear they're going to get a veteran backup? Well, if you get Garoppolo, that makes your other guy the backup. So I don't know why they're talking like that. But on the short term, they have another problem, and that is the defensive line. The interior line, the tackles, the guys that are going to stop the run, the guys that are going to push the pocket, the guys that are going to make tackles for loss. They got a low grade from me and Jim yesterday. And the more we looked at them, they like to keep 5 guys. I couldn't count 5 guys I'd keep, number one. Number two, they don't have a bell cow guy in there that's everyone's worried about. And then you start realizing that Winfrey, their 4th round pick's probably going to have to be a huge factor right away. So that's why when you hear Sue's name with Cleveland, I think Sue would never go there unless Watson's cleared. If Watson's cleared, I think you could get Sue to come for $9 million. But if Watson's not cleared, he's not going there. He's not going to go to a team he doesn't think has a chance.
Well, but Sue, there have been times in his career in which he has taken the dollar, and nobody can offer more dollars than the Browns. I mean, what they got they got $42 million to play with. I mean, in theory, and I know they're not talking about this, but they could afford both, Jimmy G and Sue and still have $8 to $10 million left over.
Absolutely true. But I do think that they wouldn't be the only team offering $10 million, 9, 10. That's what he's been taking mostly lately. But anyway, they should be dealing with that issue. And I know they can't because Sue's not going to budge until he sees. So And I love that people think it's the league's responsibility to tell the Browns the final verdict before camp starts. They don't think that way.
Well,
They'll get to their answer when they want to, and they may be 2 weeks into camp.
well, and the other thing is, I mean, the verdict could be irrelevant because the likelihood is one of the sides is going to appeal. So it's likely not going to be the final verdict anyway. But Pat, very quickly, you're the GM. And if you discount Cam Newton, I mean, is it basically AJ McCarron or Blake Bortles? I mean, if you look at what's available, that's basically the top of the quarterback list right now. I would go McCarron personally, but you know, both guys at this stage of their career are nothing but backups.
Yeah, well, you can't win with them. So it's nice to have a guy in the room that's done it at some level. And you feel like, well, he knows 60% of our offense when he gets here. He knows 80% after the camps are over and Labor Day. And if he had to go out and not embarrass the club, he could. But I don't think these guys can win. And so the old standard of, can he go 2-2 in a 4-game stretch? Well, the answer to those two guys is no. So I think, you know, you should sign one. You can't go out. You know, a lot of teams go into the games with 2 active quarterbacks. But they have to really look at life from, well, what if our starter goes down on opening day, not named Watson? Whoever is the starter, what if he goes down on opening day? What are you doing? So I would think those 2 guys that you mentioned will be gobbled up as injuries start to happen pretty quickly.
What's it going to take to move Jimmy G? How do you see this working out? How long is he going to be in San Francisco, or do you see him still being there when the season starts, Pat?
Well, he'd be there if I was there, but I'm not there. So John Lynch and Shanahan have to do that. Look, if they're going to move him because they don't want the quote-unquote distraction when they know a lot of the veterans like Jimmy G, and they don't want to be dealing with, well, are you going to bench Lance this week after he threw 4 interceptions? They don't want to deal with that. So, yeah, they're going to move him. I don't really know if as soon as he's able to throw and work out, I think there'll be some form of a workout that people can view, whether it's at their facility or just to prove. Because if you make a trade and he goes and fails your physical, he's coming right back to you. So I think you got to get to the point where you're confident he'd pass your physical, and then you'll see some people get involved here. And I think there's teams that have been waiting for this opportunity to get to him. You know, he's the best by far. He's better than some of the starters in this league. I would say maybe about half of them. And so he'll get an opportunity. And if they really want to wait for the best compensation, they'll wait for a starter on a good team to go down.
One other quarterback I will mention who's sitting home right now waiting for the phone to ring is a favorite of ours, Mark, Kurt Benkert, because we saw him in high school. But I believe in him. He's a guy who got in for 2 snaps last year in a game with the Packers. And I don't know, maybe he ends up being picked up by somebody also in the coming weeks. All right, Jesse Bates, $12.9 million. He hasn't signed his franchise tender yet. Now there's talk of the Bengals trading him. First off, who has $13 million right now under the cap for a safety?
There are plenty of teams that could find $13 million. What you'd have to do is look at, okay, is he better than the safety we have, whoever this we is, and then they can dump an unguaranteed contract if they want to of someone else, and maybe it would even be a safety. Like, I'll fire my safety to hire your safety, and my team will be better. So I think if you think he's going to be a factor for you, then I think you'll see a number of teams want to do something, as long as they don't ask for a lot. And how could they? He's in the franchise tag year, and it's not a very expensive tag relative to some of the other ones. So this guy's 100 tackle a year guy, and he's also a guy that can quarterback the defense. I think it's a big mistake in Cincinnati to not have him on the field. But if they want to play this game and he doesn't, obviously it's too late to sign a contract, you'll get a number of people that will want him.
Stories out there that Fournette showed up at 260 pounds for the mini camps for the Bucs. What are the biggest worries of GMs? I mean, I don't think there's that many guys that coming out of shape. Coming into camp, what are their worries, and how many guys these days are showing up like that? One a team?
Not many. The starters, and I don't know if the number's 1, but some of the linemen tend to get heavy. But in this thing, you asked the question, what's the biggest worry? Injury. He's not going to go from 260 down to 225 overnight. He may start to panic here because I don't know what his contract says in regards to fines. Probably doesn't have anything because he has not had that problem, to my knowledge, before at this pace. But you always worry as he tries to crash diet, something could happen to him. We've seen that before. Or he's trying to lose it the right way, a little at a time. And by the second week of camp, he's been carrying. I tell people all the time, you want to know how it feels to be him right now? Take a knapsack, put 30, 40 pounds in it, and put it on your back and go work out twice a day. You won't be able to. And I think that's when bad things happen. Lower back injury, leg injuries, lots of things. And if he's trying to run at 255 in a week and they're in pads and they got a 9-on-7 drill and he just can't avoid, people knock him down, he can get hurt. So I would be worried about injury first. And then he'd be monitored by my trainers in everything he's doing, so he's not doing something really stupid to lose the weight fast.
Jesse Bates, by the way, getting back to him, he's missed 2 games in 4 years. Not only is he a 100 tackle a game guy, leader back there, he's missed 2 games in 4 years. He's Pat Kirwan. He co-hosts Moving the Chains weekday afternoons on NFL Radio, and he joins us courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and many points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Tell you what, Pat, 30 seconds. Okay, team that in your estimation had the best offseason. 30 seconds, go.
30 seconds. Gosh, I don't know. I can't answer it in 30 seconds.
Okay.
You could, though.
Eagles. Well, it might be the Eagles to me.
Yeah, it might be the Eagles. I might agree with that. They look pretty good, and they're really set to take on that division with the Cowboys.
Pat Kirwan joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. Pat, all the best. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you guys soon. Thanks for having me.
Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, weekday afternoons.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, Twitch chat. So the other day, me and my boys were talking about biggest what ifs in terms of legendary athletes that their careers were cut off by injuries. Is number one Bo Jackson or Ken Griffey Jr.? Give me some candidates for that, Twitch chat. It's got to be Bo.
What was the question?
I'm saying, because we had a topic discussed yesterday between me and my friends, athletes, like legendary athletes, who could have been even more legendary if their careers weren't cut short with injuries. I think number one's got to be Bo Jackson. Grant Hill, he's also in that conversation. Penny Hardaway too. Len Bias, yeah.
Well, Len
Definitely
Bias
for the
wasn't
big
an injury.
Bernard King, I like that one.
Kirby was near the end of his career, but
Who?
that Kirby Puckett, he was probably 70%.
And to me, Junior.
Brandon Roy. Greg
Junior's the
Oden.
one I
wow.
always think of.
T-Mac.
Because that's a Hall of Fame career that could have been a legendary Hall of Fame career.
Who?
Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh, yeah.
That's always been the one for me.
Yeah, Paul, we talked about that. What was it? Early last week, Jim Thorpe. Yeah. 110 years late.
So, Mark, you got Griffey over Bo?
No, I think Bo's a great answer. You already said that, so I'm not going to just repeat.
Right.
Tim Couch. Oof.
I think that's someone having fun.
Yeah.
I hope.
Eric Lindros is pretty good.
Derrick Rose.
Vladimir Konstantinov.
Uh-huh. Did you see there was a highlight put out there yesterday on Twitter? It was that 96 playoff series between the Wings and the Avs. And Lemieux gets the puck on the right wing, and he's coming across the blue line, and Konstantinov's got a little bit of an angle on him, and he's coming over. And Lemieux looks as if he's going to wind up and give it like the LaFleur slap shot, and he decides at the last minute he's going to kind of try to go through Konstantinov's legs and get around him, and Konstantinov hits him with a hip check, and Lemieux literally goes flying in the air and lands on his head.
Oh, my God.
And, it's one of the things we just don't see in the sport anymore is the open ice hip check.
No.
It was
Mr. Boutte, that's a good
awesome.
one. Tiger. I mean, hell.
Pro baseball. KW. Played minor league baseball. That was the reason why.
Yeah. Had like $2 a game or something ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. See, to me, Tiger ruined himself off the field, so to speak.
Brad Daugherty. Wow.
No, Brad Daugherty, that's a reach.
I know this one
Sam
doesn't
Bowie
really
would
count.
be a.
Yeah.
This one doesn't really count, but Dwayne Wade. I mean, if he didn't have all those knee injuries.
Are you fucking kidding?
No, I know.
Seriously?
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't count, but like.
No, it doesn't. It's not even.
He missed so many games, though.
Come on.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. You can text the show. If you never have before, you got to send us one text. FSN Radio, all one word, FSN Radio, and send it to 21,000, 21000. Boom, that's it. You're in the club. You don't get a free T-shirt or a koozie or anything like that, but you're in the club. And then you can text us constantly, anytime, day or night. Mark loves the 4:32 p.m., the 9:18 p.m., loves those texts.
Yeah, when I go up to the office, at some point during the afternoon today, I'll go up and do today was the day when for tomorrow. Just kind of that way I don't have to do it first thing in the morning. And that's the first time I check the text line. see what's going on, seeing if anybody offered anything insightful while they were listening to the podcast that they downloaded.
You can watch us, not just listen, but watch. We have a Twitch channel. It's the Miller and Moulton channel. I know, we're very creative. Twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. And check us out. Watch us, follow us, subscribe. We would appreciate it. We have a poll question every day. We release it on Twitter at FL Sports Network, at the David Moulton, that Mark Miller. And we also put it on floridasportsnetwork.com. And it's based on what Greg Sankey said yesterday.
With USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten, Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC, which conference added the better teams? Right now it's 60-40 SEC. T. Barrington offered this, and I have to read it, and we'll respond accordingly. The Bruins are a terrible football team, and the Trojans are on the decline. Texas and Oklahoma will be in the top 10 almost every year. If anything, they strengthen the SEC, where the other two weakened the Big Ten. We just spent an entire segment talking about Texas. And Oklahoma, I'm not going to comment on because they are very good. Texas has been, at best, mediocre in the last decade. They're not a top 10 team. They're not a top 20 team. They're not a top 25 team. Now, because they got Arch Manning, everybody thinks immediately they're going to be a top 10 team again. We'll see.
Listen, the Texas Longhorns have a lot of Dallas Cowboys in them. A program that gets a ton of hype. Now, the Cowboys have been better because their regular seasons have not been nearly what the Texas Longhorns' regular seasons have been. But, you know, Dallas, as we know, they don't do anything in the playoffs, which is how you get judged in the NFL. Well, I mean, Longhorns, I mean, they've averaged like 7 wins a year for 10 years. I mean, this is a middle-of-the-pack Big 12 program, 10 years. So they better get it together and better get it together quickly, because Mark made the comparison last hour that is UCLA, Nebraska. And we would argue it's Nebraska without the football tradition. It's Nebraska with the basketball tradition. But you know, how many more years is it where Texas is Tennessee? It's been 15 years since Tennessee played in the conference championship game. 13 seasons ago now, Texas played for the national championship. They've had 10, at best, mediocre years, if you were to judge the program as a whole, for 10 years. Mediocre. In the Big 12.
And despite these couple of recruits that have come with Arch, and that's not even this year's class, it's next year's class, they're not keeping up with A&M on the recruiting cycle. They're not even winning their own state right now. A&M pays more.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So now we both think, you know, Texas gets their act together. You can turn it around very quickly. USC the same way, though.
Because USC, for everything that Texas has done recruiting, USC's done that, but they've done it with the transfer portal as well. I would expect USC to have a much quicker rise to the top 10 than Texas. And I did pick the SEC in this poll question, but I picked it based on UCLA. That at the end of the day, I ranked them USC, Oklahoma, Texas, UCLA. But the gap between 3 and 4 is big enough to me that I gave the SEC the nod close.
We were talking with Jim Dunaway last hour. He told us that when the SEC goes to 16, and for the record, are you on board with me? You think it's 1 year early, 2024? Or are you still thinking?
I think, no. That makes the most sense. ESPN, ABC's not going to spend the money that they spent and not get the full run of Texas and Oklahoma for the huge dollars they're spending.
Plus, it'd be a really big way for them to start off as the exclusive network of the SEC. I mean, don't you want Oklahoma and Texas's first SEC games and you want them in the best channel and time slot that you have, Disney, I think you do. So we think it could be a year early in 2024. Right now, contractually, they have to stay with the Big 12 through 2024. Big 12 did come out yesterday, their commissioner, and say, yeah, we're open to them leaving earlier. See, if I'm the Big 12, I want them out a year early because I'll get some money, and it does cause problems schedule-wise, and, it just, you know what, you're going. Leave. Get out of here. We'll take your money, We're not even going to wish you good luck. I mean, for 1 year, you'd have to redo the conference, how you're going to do schedules and what have you. It's just
you're adding the 4 teams that you're adding.
Right. Let me get this straight. We can get 30 to 50 million. You leave early, go. Get out of here. Especially since you know who's going to pay it? Disney. And that's the other thing. Texas and Oklahoma are going to look at ESPN and the SEC and go, oh, we'll come, but we ain't paying.
Not a dime.
No. We ain't paying. I don't know what to tell you. You guys want to negotiate it with the Big 12. Be my guest. Let's face it, Bristol. You're running the SEC just like Fox is running the Big 10. You guys do the deals.
You have to at least give Fox and the Big 10 a little credit because as they do the TV negotiations, the 2 highest people in Fox Sports are sitting in on the negotiations.
Right.
Make no bones about this, how this is going.
Right. And ESPN thinks they're going to retain part of the Big 10. That's
They'll give it to CBS out of spite, David.
Yeah, please give it to a streaming service. Anyway, Miller and Moulton.
So that's our poll question today about the two new teams entering each conference. It's a 60-40 vote right now, SEC over the Big 10. Probably a little closer than you and I thought it was going to be.
Yes. Thought regionally the bias would be towards the SEC. I think it shows just how much pull USC has.
Also, a lot of people in this area are from Big 10 countries. So,
well, that's true. That's true. But, it's not just, the whole I-75 corridor that is true. Bunch of people who've traveled the highway south.
And at the same time, a lot of them, like me, a Big 10 grad who's been in the SEC world for long enough that can take the glasses off and look at it objectively.
Once again, though, Sankey sounded like a guy yesterday who did not need to expand.
And I thought that ultimately was a good day for college football, David. I don't know if more expansion's necessarily good. It's good for sports talk radio.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But we don't know if it's good for college football.
Don't see how it is. How can it be? It'll produce more have-nots as far as I'm concerned. I do think, though, when you start talking about the 2 super conferences becoming 18, 20, 24, what have you, I do think the Big 10 gets the better of the schools going forward. I really do. If I'm the SEC, I want both of us to stay at 16. I like it at 16. We go to 20, I think they're going to get better schools than us.
Miller and Moulton, we thank you for listening. Vote on our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton. And we're listening to the show right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, Silicon Valley is up by Cal and Stanford.
Yeah, LA monies.
So it's LA money against Texas oil money. I'd go Texas. Because also they get to keep more of their money because of the taxes. Yeah, Mello, that'll be interesting to see if the IRS even goes down that route.
That good of a story. I could use a better good, David. The old Good News Network. Give me something.
Mega Millions, Mark.
It's right now. It's about to be a.
Yeah. I mean, ugly bag of water, isn't it that it? I mean, if you get NIL, you're getting income, right? You're not paying taxes on it. Don't you have to pay taxes on it? Which is another reason why I'm telling you, will there come a time where they talk about making these kids employees? And this way you bring it all, they get taxed, it gets regulated. And then also, like what Lane Kiffin said, if you do that, then you can salary cap it. Funny thing then is that the college players can form a union. You'll have to negotiate with them.
But it's a union you could destroy because they're only there for 3 and 4 years.
Right. Of course, if they don't show up and play,
You are correct, Sean. And we'll find some player, we'll find, I'm sure, like anything else, there'll be people that'll try not to.
I hope the All-Star break doesn't ruin the Mariners' mojo.
Well, it has to. What are you
gotta.
going to do? Come out of the All-Star break and play, win another 14? I mean,
No way.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
.22 before the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. 39-44, 51 days away. 39 days away from week 0, 44 days away from week 1. I mean, think about this. We're saying it with a straight face. I mean, that's how charming, i.e. weird, quirky, college football is. We have a week 0.
We have a Coke 0.
So you're saying college football, week 0 is football
It's
without
for
the
less
sugar?
calories. Yes, it's exactly what it is.
The Coke Zero of college football. Wow. That's a good one.
Really
In
is.
fact, it might even be Mellow Yellow 0 because there's that little going on.
I'll tell you, not much, but Nebraska Northwestern in Ireland. That's the headliner. Week 1, 44 days away, 6 weeks from Thursday. Headliners Pitt, West Virginia in the backyard brawl. Hey, we should celebrate any time that we get a good rivalry game because it seems as if we're getting less and less of them. We're 51 days away, 7 weeks Thursday. Kickoff of the NFL season. 8 NFL teams had their rookies show up for beginning of training camp today. Falcons, Ravens, Chargers, Dolphins, Patriots, Saints, Giants, Jets. So there you have it. That'll make 10 teams then with rookies who are going to work as of today.
Sure, a lot of you will be watching the episode of The Captain that you DVR'd last night because it didn't start until around 11 o'clock. It'll be really interesting when most of it's the home run derby. I hope you set your DVRs accordingly.
All-Star game tonight. Shane McClanahan, the pride of Cape Coral, Florida, Southwest Florida. He's a Florida kid. Grew up and went to high school in Southwest Florida, went to college in South Florida, pitches for the Tampa Bay Rays. He gets the start for the American League tonight against Clayton Kershaw. A ceremonial start, if there ever was one. I mean, he's been fine this year, but he's like the third best pitcher on his own team. And, I mean, Sandy Alcantara from the Marlins is...
Yep.
Highway robbery, as we like to call it.
But listen, it happens all the time in all-star games, and not just baseball. I mean, it happens in all-star games. Oftentimes, young players lose out on an all-star bid early in their career that, in theory, they get at the back end of their career.
It was the old lose the Heisman your sophomore year because you weren't ready to get it. You had to earn it your junior or senior year. I mean, that was kind of the way that went for the longest time, was have a really good have a Heisman-worthy sophomore year so you can be considered to win it in your junior or senior year.
You're not talking about Bo Jackson or Rex Grossman or somebody like that, are you? Although I will say this, for Herschel, because I said Bo Jackson, I meant Herschel Walker. Herschel deserved it his freshman year when they gave it to George Rogers. You could argue he did not deserve it his sophomore year.
I mean, but that was, yeah.
Because I think Marcus Allen won it. And if you do the seasons and what have you, you could see where Marcus would win it. I mean, they were side-by-side seasons. And then, of course, his junior year, and he would have won back-to-back if he hadn't
very well should have. Yeah.
Right. I mean, he should have been a 2-time winner. And
anyhow.
Yes.
Well, Mark, or David, actually, it goes back to what you said in the last hour. This is probably Alcantara's best opportunity. to
Well,
start.
Yeah,
we'll see. If he's that good, he'll have plenty of opportunities.
He's
to
26.
start.
It's a very good point.
well, the other tricky part is that, sometimes these guys don't, the whole what day they've pitched last, like, Verlander, for as much as we're thrilled for McClanahan, I mean, for us, he's a local guy, but also he's plays for the Rays, the whole deal. I mean, that's awesome. But you could argue Verlander could have been the starter. But as it turns out, he pitched Sunday and he's not even, I don't even know if he's at the game. So that's the other thing that works into it. With these pitchers, if they pitch on Saturday and or Sunday, they oftentimes don't even make themselves available. Ohtani said he's not pitching tonight. And I think the last time he pitched was like last Wednesday or Thursday. I mean, he certainly could have pitched an inning tonight, but he said, "No, I'm good."
It's not what it once was. You can't get uptight over some guy not pitching, some guy pitching, who's starting, who's not starting. It's just not the same game as it was in our childhood. And it's not something I'm going to lose a lot of sleep over. But you're right. Alcantara should have gotten the start tonight. It didn't work out that way.
It happens. I mean, it's an exhibition. I mean,
yes,
these things are going to happen in an exhibition. I want to talk about something that we just mentioned a couple hours ago, and the starting five, as a newsworthy item, but we didn't really discuss it anymore. So as it turns out with the LIV yesterday, at this time yesterday, Cam Smith was leaving, or so we thought, and Henrik Stenson was gone.
Right.
Well, unless news has, broken here in the last 60 to 90 minutes, I mean, midway through the show, Stenson was meeting with the DP World Tour and the European Ryder Cup folks. Now, the thought process was he's gone, but they're taking a last-ditch effort to keep him. A couple of interesting things. Apparently, Stenson would have made about $4 million between now and the Ryder Cup in the fall of 2023 for being the Ryder Cup captain. I don't know if that's salary and endorsements, appearances. I don't know, but I saw that yesterday in a report. It's kind of like, believe it or not, he would have made a few shekels.
Okay.
But obviously, we're not talking LIV money.
Nobody is,
right,
except for the LIV tour.
So, and he is 46, and his game is not what it was. He's clearly on the, he's
like most of the Euros that have signed on
right,
the back end.
Yeah, I think all the Euros are in their 40s.
Right.
Right, between like 42 and 46. So that's the Stenson part of the equation. Apparently, we're going to find out today. Cam Smith, yesterday at this time, the offer was $90 million. When we started the show, there was a report that the offer is $110. He's the number 2 golfer in the world right now. Scheffler is number 1, and Scheffler would win Player of the Year. It's close, but I think Scheffler's got him 4-3 in wins. They have the same number of top 10s in majors. They've each won a major, the whole deal. Scheffler's year is a little better. Although one of Cam Smith's 3 wins is the Players.
Yes.
Right. So I think, though, Scheffler would win Player of the Year if the voting were to happen today.
Be really close.
It would be.
The Players carries a lot of weight out there.
Yes.
But I think you're right.
So, and here's the other thing with which we talked about last week. If you're a golfer that's being pursued here by the LIV, you could say to them, hey, give me 1 more month. Yeah, I'll miss your event in Jersey, but your next event's Labor Day weekend in Boston. And by then the FedEx Cup is done.
It's the one thing I didn't really, there are only 6 more tournaments left in the PGA Tour season. They've got 2 events and then they start their playoff.
And so if you're Cam Smith, you could say to the LIV people, listen, I'm coming. I'm just not coming till Labor Day. I'm going to play this whole thing out. Basically, I'm going to double dip. Yeah, I'm going to take your $110 million, but I got a chance to win about $10+ million here in the next 4 weeks.
And it's easy money.
Right. I mean, I'm in the Tour Championship
Bingo.
right now. I don't even have to play another round of golf. I can show up at Atlanta or wherever it is they're having their Tour Championship and play 4 days and maybe win the whole thing. So we'll see if something happens with Cam Smith.
If I were Cam Smith, that's what I'd be doing.
But to me,
because you could really stick it to the PGA Tour by winning the Tour Championship and then leaving.
Which also then, if he were to do that, don't you have to vote him Player of the Year?
Technically, they wouldn't, but yes, that's I mean, and I think there's a little bit of Norman that tells Cam Smith right now, you know what? Go win the Tour Championship.
Oh, I don't know, though. He just won the Open Championship. He's number 2 in the world, and the next week they're having their 3rd event.
I understand that.
And he's a sexy signing.
He is. But it might be even a bigger FU to the PGA Tour if he does it after the Tour Championship. And we didn't really consider that. We talked about the 2 exoduses coming after the U.S. Open and the British Open. We didn't really consider the fact that right before Labor Day, a bunch more could leave after the Tour Championship.
Correct. But somebody who did leave yesterday, even though he has not spoken publicly, nor has his representatives, but NBC released a statement late yesterday, early evening type deal, wishing David Faraday all the best. David Faraday left NBC. And the word is he's going to the LIV.
That tells me that the Live Tour's going to be on Turner.
Well, it tells me it's going to be somewhere.
It's going to be somewhere, and I would bet my bottom dollar it's on Turner. Faraday would have artistic control to be himself, if you know what I mean. There's nothing stuffy about how anything is done on that network. They've already been talking to Barkley, supposedly. So I am of the belief that you're going to hear of a deal between the Live Tour and Turner in the not-too-distant future.
I mean, if you're Faraday, and, you know, word is Faraday wasn't thrilled with NBC. They canceled his show, and he was promised certain things when he left CBS in terms of where he was going to be in the coverage of NBC, and they never quite gave him the status that he wanted. I mean, he did not want to be an on-course commentator. He wanted to be a tower guy, and they had him as their number 2 on-course guy behind Maltby pretty much until the end. And so, you know, he wasn't crazy about that. That was the word. But okay, so fine. You're not crazy. You're 63. You're tired of walking the course. You're going to leave. That's fine. But are you going to leave even if it's more money to be on YouTube TV?
No way.
And Facebook Live or whatever? You know,
no way.
So that just tells me he went, well, you know, I'll leave, but you know, where's the golf going to be? And they said, well, it's either going to be here or here. We're not sure, but you know, and I still keep waiting for them to announce that the rest of this season is going to be somewhere.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. If they're going to get the last half of this done somewhere, anywhere, because they're starting to get more players. They're continuing to get publicity, but you can't watch their events.
I mean, you can, but people are not going to go out of their way to do it. Right. Now, you keep mentioning Turner, which also falls into, do they carry football?
Nope.
So when you have 5 of your 8 events, 2 in September, Labor Day weekend in Boston, then I think 2 weeks later you're in Chicago. And then 2nd and 3rd week of October, you're in Thailand and Middle East. But then at the very end of October, you're at Doral in Miami for a 4-dayer. See, Turner can air all this stuff because also what does it not do? It doesn't conflict really with hockey or basketball. I mean, the hockey season does get underway, but they run games during the week, early in the week. You know, the golf's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That ain't conflicting with hockey.
Nope. And it's during the day anyhow.
And the hoops don't start till the very end of the month. And, you know, they'll do a Tuesday night thing, maybe a Tuesday. And besides, golf's not played at night.
Correct.
So the golf wouldn't conflict with the sports that Turner runs.
So that's why I think it's going. That are some of the reasons I think it's going there. I think the Barkley thing adds to it as well.
Let me ask you this, though. The golf audience that's listening to us right now, traditionally older and more conservative, not just politically, but just in personality. Do you think that the golf audience is ready for the type of broadcast if you unleash Faraday and Barkley? I mean, it's like rolling the balls out on a basketball court. If you unleash that type of broadcast,
I think the golf audience will eat it up. And here's why. What the golf audience doesn't like is for announcers to be critical of golfers. Nothing gets the golf audience more uptight than Brendan Chambly saying that somebody can't play, or Johnny Miller saying somebody. I mean, Johnny Miller was hated. You and I didn't hate him, but golf fans did not like Johnny Miller because he was unbelievably critical of golfers. This isn't going to be a critical broadcast. This is essentially going to be the Homer SEC broadcast of golf.
But it's also going to try to be constantly fun, irreverent. They also may go off on tangents where they're not really talking golf.
Well, without any cuts, does it really matter if they talk golf or not?
Okay, well, that's what I'm asking.
And I don't know if the golf fan will, but I think, again, I think their intent, this whole tour's intent is going to try after a younger audience. That's why they're trying to get the younger players out of college. And I think they're playing this long game for a younger audience. And Barkley and Faraday may do that. You know where it'll be great? On Twitter, David.
How ironic. They're turning to two guys in their 60s to try to hit the younger audience.
No one else that does golf could get it to them.
Oh, that is true. Miller and Moulton. Our poll question: which conference did better in the merger? The SEC or the Big Ten? Oklahoma, Texas, USC, UCLA. Which one you like better?
SEC votes coming in strong late. 64-36 right now in favor of the SEC. Tampa, St. Pete, Lake City, Port Charlotte. We thank you for listening. The bonus hour coming up next to the 239. Where else but right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Wow. That is an impressive stat. The United States women haven't even allowed a goal in World Cup qualifying in 12 years.
They invented the sport for women, okay? They only had a 50-year head start on the world.
Goes back with, but your number one birthday is after a whole year of life. And I go, I would argue it's day 1, year 0. There are times Vern used to look over. Sometimes Nestler just looks over. I mean, some of the shit we can get on a roll. Oh,
Are these cards going back and forth, or
Yep.
are these?
Nope, these are cards going back. I love when we're actually doing it during the game. Okay, and he's taking a card while Nestler's talking and writing something, handing it to me. But one, Vern got mad at us in Dallas. We were doing Arkansas A&M at Jarrah's place. I was on my knees laughing, head in my thing laughing, and Gary was on a knee with his head in his hand laughing. We were laughing so hard. Okay. The game's going on. We get the commercial break. Vern steps back, looks over, and goes, "You guys know we're doing a game, right?" That was all because of Mike Sherman. I couldn't remember Mike Sherman. He asked me, who was the former A&M coach, blah, 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 and I couldn't remember Mike Sherman. And I start writing down former coach of the Packers. Okay. And he's watching me write it down. He finally takes the pen and he goes, "I know. What's his fucking name?" Okay. And finally, like and I'm still writing down more cues. He's an assistant with the Dolphins right now. And he looks at me, and finally I remember. And we're just laughing.
Who's Gail Sayers?
Oh my God. Actually, that's the answer. Somebody gave that answer to your question, right?
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
Who is
Played
that?
for the Bears in the 60s.
Yeah.
Damn.
It was Barry Sanders before Barry Sanders.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour on this Tuesday. Hope your week got off to a good start, and we thank you for listening to us, Miller and Moulton, here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Miss any part of the show, go to floridasportsnetwork.com and download our podcasts. About an hour and a half ago, we talked to Jim Dunaway live, SEC Media Days in Atlanta. That was actually a good talk. Covered a lot of ground. And Pat Kirwan joined us an hour ago. Talk all things NFL with training camps in some situations, at least rookies, getting underway. Veterans report. A week today is basically the day when just about everybody's everywhere.
I loved Pat. The GM of the Giants says he's very nervous about training camp starting. Pat goes, he should be. Someone's going to trip over a curb and get hurt.
Read a story yesterday that longtime GM Ernie Accorsi would sit there for the hour and a half of practice every day in camp and would be a mess, an absolute mess, and would literally celebrate when practice was over. Yes, no one got hurt. And then he said it lasted about 10 minutes. And then I spent the next 12 hours worrying about tomorrow's practice and who was going to get hurt.
Yeah, after the practice, maybe one thing. By the time you get to the locker room, you never know what the hell happened. I mean, it is
true.
Constant. And as we've pointed out, there are bodies out there, but there are no players really out there. There are a handful of guys that you could bring in for help right now. Other than that, they're just guys.
Good young safety for the Bengals is apparently on the trade market because he wants a long-term deal from the Bengals, Jesse Bates, and Cincinnati's already drafted his replacement. And so they offered him the franchise tag for this year, and then they're going to let him walk. He's, I think, 25 years old. $12.9 million. He has said, I'm not signing it. I'm not showing up. And has basically said, well, I'll sign it for you to trade me, but I ain't playing for you anymore. So Jesse Bates is apparently on the market. And Ndamukong Suh, JPP still can be had. And well, there's not much. Odell Beckham, I keep waiting. I mean, who signs him and knowing full well you're probably not going to get anything out of him until at least Thanksgiving? You may be signed. Do you sign him to a 2-year deal, knowing you may not get anything out of him this year or just a month, but you're signing him for 2023?
Boy, that's a great question, David, because to me, I wouldn't even be thinking about signing him right now. I would be waiting and waiting and waiting some more. But then you have to find then the ultimate question you ask yourself, are you going to be the only one waiting? Is someone going to jump up and do what you're talking about and take a player that you want away?
If you're the Niners and you're worried about losing Deebo Samuel, do you sign Odell, knowing full well you might not get a play out of him this year, but you're paying him for next year? And it gives you insurance in case you lose Deebo. And if Deebo stays, well, then, now.
And you're signing him away from whom?
There you go. There you go. The place he's rumored to want to go back to, and that they're interested also, the LA Rams. Now, here's the deal. They've got about $1.58 of salary cap space, unless, of course, they move Jimmy Garoppolo. All of a sudden, $25 million shows up on their cap. It's non-guaranteed, They can cut him, and, unlike the mess that the Browns were in, Baker's contract was fully guaranteed, so it didn't matter if he played for him or not. He was on their books, so to speak. That's not the case with Garoppolo. They could cut him, and they don't take $1 of a cap hit. I mean, it's just about all freed up, basically. Either all of it or very little is on their cap. And they've got a Deebo and a Bosa problem in terms of needing to sign them for, future seasons. Well, technically free agents at the end of the year, you can only cap one.
How long do you, we've asked Pat, I haven't asked you in a while. When do you think this Garoppolo trade, if it happens, when does it happen?
Well, I can't believe Cleveland hasn't already made the deal.
I can't either.
And I know it's a hedging your bet, and in theory, you could be like, well, wow, you traded for Garoppolo, and Deshaun's going to be available in 6 weeks. And my feeling is good, then I'll trade him. Somebody will take him. Somebody's quarterback's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to want better insurance as a backup. I mean, maybe by mid-season, hell, maybe the Tampa Bay Bucks would give a 5th or 6th round pick to bring in Jimmy G as insurance in case Brady gets hurt.
And who knows? Look, I don't even care. You don't even have to say the team, David. It is safe to make the assumption, but that a quarterback's going down.
Sure.
And a quarterback of a team that thinks they're going to make the playoffs is going to go down. And they're going to have to react. Now, tough to move a quarterback midseason. You're learning a new system and those things. You do eliminate some teams from that because they flat out won't do it midseason. They think that their backup under the system is better.
I'll mention a team. The Dallas Cowboys think they're Super Bowl contenders. Now, we don't think they're as good as they were last year. We think they've lost more than they've added in the offseason. And they got beat in the first round of the playoffs last year, although they did win 12 games in the regular season. Cooper Rush is the backup quarterback. Dak Prescott gets hurt. First off, in that division, the Eagles expect to be a lot better this year. You may just need a backup to go 2-1 in a 3-game sequence so that you can win the division again. But God forbid Dak gets hurt. I mean, your season's completely lost. You ain't doing anything with the quarterbacks that are on your roster. I mean, can you afford that if you're Dallas?
No, but I don't think they can afford Garoppolo.
No, they can't. But, the Niners are in a situation. Once again, the Niners can eat up a bunch of this if they want. I mean, depending on what it is you're offering.
Offer more down the road to get more of the salary absorbed by the team who's trading him. Okay.
But anyway, we're basically making the point. There's like a handful, maybe 2, if you want to go really on far down the list, as to players that are out there that you think could come in and help you. And if you missed Pat, the other thing he did say, in which upon further review with the Cleveland Browns, they need a little help in the middle of that defensive line. They got guys who can rush the passer. They don't have guys who can stop the run.
And he flat out says Sue won't go there unless the quarterback situation's resolved. And he's probably right.
Now, best information we have, the Judge Robinson, got all the paperwork last week. Everybody had to get everything to her, all the briefs and everything they had last week. I'm of the belief then that she would make a ruling by the end of this week. Yesterday, the 24-hour news cycle was, David, you're wrong. This could linger into the last week of July and linger into the early days of training camp. There's a part of me, deadlines, and I understand it's not a hard deadline, but come on. We all know what's going on here. She even knows when training camp starts. She knows the big picture as to what's at stake. Also, you sat there, you heard the arguments, then everybody sends you the paperwork. You've got a week plus to read it. I mean, come on.
How much
now.
paperwork is there?
I mean, come on now. And is there really a reason why you can't render your decision, which is going to be immediately appealed anyway? You can't render it by the end of this week? And we didn't give it a lot of talk yesterday, but the NFLPA has apparently let the word out. Just so you know, he gets suspended for a full year. We're going scorched earth. We're suing everybody. We are airing all the dirty laundry. All the owners you've protected, he ain't going to be able to protect them anymore.
And we had wondered whether or not the NFLPA was going to go that route. We thought they might. We thought there was always the chance that they could say this guy's just not worth
going scorched earth about. Apparently he is. I mean, the word's out. They said if he gets a full year, it's on. It is on, and it's going to be nasty. And he may be suspended for a year, but we're taking people out. We are going to drag this league through more than mud. That's apparently the word. I just don't. I mean, let's face it. Does America
care
anymore? Or if they just said
we didn't care about Snyder. I mean, from the owner standpoint, Kraft we didn't care about at all.
No.
Snyder, who's apparently not a good dude.
No.
We don't care about him.
Not a good person, doesn't treat people well. Most people.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
None of them seem to be nearly as bad, and I know it's a different league, as Donald Sterling was, and we really didn't. They made him sell the team. If you're that bad, they just get rid of you. And they haven't gotten rid of Snyder. So I don't think we care.
But the NFLPA, they've just kind of let that out there, which I find funny. Are they trying to intimidate a former Superior Court judge who, for what it's worth, the word was she's actually more on the side of Deshaun's argument because she's big on precedent. And that was the main point of Deshaun's case, that, hey, there is no precedent for the penalty that the NFL is wanting to inflict. I mean, it is an interesting PR gambit here that they're running.
To go the threat of scorched earth before any decision's been made, of which, as you said, I mean, throughout this procedure, we have heard that this judge has been leaning towards a non-full season based on any other suspensions that have happened in the league.
Right.
So it will be fascinating to see how this comes out. For the life of me, I still think the league is screwing with Cleveland a little bit. I'm sorry, David, because you're right. They could have this decision by the end of the week. And there's part of me that says, yeah, make your decision. You're going to sit on it for another week. They signed him for $1 million. None of the owners are on Cleveland's side here.
No, that contract honked the entire league off.
So there's nobody calling up the league helping Cleveland right now. They've got no one on their side.
Because I think there's a part of the NFL that would have been fine if Deshaun just faded away. I think the league was prepared to do to Deshaun what they did to Ray Rice and Colin Kaepernick. Hey, we built this league with, before you, we can be just fine without you. People are not pounding the table for you to play football again.
And that's what they're going to find out when he does play football again.
They will be pounding the table.
There is no doubt there. Miller and Moulton, vote on the poll question. SEC, Big Ten, who got it right with their expansion? That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FL Sports Network on Twitter. Back with more in a moment right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
The Colorado Rapids are worth $370. You can't even get a major league franchise. The hell?
First off, I don't like street course racing. So maybe it's a fun fan experience. I don't know. Maybe one year I'll go to that St. Pete Grand Prix and it'll grow on me. But
If we can sit in a boat, I'll go.
But
Firestone Grand Prix.
I can't imagine Chicago's going to get all fired up for a NASCAR race. Never mind. Anybody been to Chicago lately? And I don't mean all the shooting stuff. I'm just talking about the roads.
The roads suck.
Yeah. And
When were you in Chicago last?
I drove in Chicago in 2018, and I was confuzzled with how crappy the roads were.
yeah, and on these street courses, they're never wide enough where you can pass, Johnny Mac. You're right. I mean, it just I'd rather they race the Miami Stadium parking lot course the week after the F1 race.
I would love to watch a race from a boat. That's the goal, isn't it?
I'll watch anything from a boat.
To end up watching.
Hey, Mark, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Would it work in Charlotte?
I don't know. I don't know if I don't think that audience. Now, I will say Jake did like the idea. It was Road America where they were. He goes, that would be pretty cool to go to. That looked fun.
Okay.
That's the first time I've ever heard him even mention a road course.
Right.
That's the one in Texas, right?
I don't know. I don't know. I have to look that one up.
Thought it was in Kansas City, but I could be wrong. Oh, it's in Wisconsin.
Oh, never mind.
He thought that one, but that's the first time I've ever heard him even mention a road course. So I don't know.
I feel like road courses look better on the other side of the country. Or the other side of the world is what I meant. Like Europe and Asia.
Yeah,
No.
I got you. You had the other side of the world. I'm able to figure that out.
Just like the fact they're going the wrong way. Logic Man, there's no passing. That's why I don't like it. There's no passing. Also, there's very little speed. I mean, you got to remember, they have 36 to 40 cars in these races now. Through the streets of Chicago?
It would never happen, but through the streets of Miami, that would be something.
I haven't driven in Miami in a while. How are the roads?
It's beautiful. Roads are amazing.
Somebody bet $54,000 to net $15,000 that Schroeder would beat Pujols.
Oops.
No snow, which means less damage.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
It's 21 minutes after the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We have an event tonight. Maybe. The event's the All-Star game. But, I mean, Mega Millions, man. I mean, you get over 500 million, right? Then, I mean, you got to get to at least 400 million to talk about, don't you?
I think so.
400 million, maybe, just maybe. But now, when you're over $500 million,
You realize $500 million doesn't even buy you an MLS franchise?
well, and that's before taxes,
No, I know.
right?
I was just looking at franchise valuations for
What?
you, not for me.
I was going to say,
If I win it, I'm not buying a franchise. I just figured you might, or you'd want to.
all right. Here's the deal. You have to promise me this. If you win, you have to show up for work tomorrow.
I will show up for a while. I'll probably give you a football season at the very least.
I thought a while like yesterday, like you'd stay till 8:30 or something.
As long as the wife can retire, I'll work for a while. She's the one that needs the break, not me.
Okay.
I've rethought this over the years. Now, I'm not going to be sitting next to you. I'll be at a different location because I'm the hell out of here.
Are we still doing mornings if you
Yeah.
win? Really?
How am I going to? It's when I wake up.
I know. Damn. I wish you were a sleeper.
Me too. It's
Okay.
really bad on Saturday and Sunday.
I will say
When I get
that-
up and I start doing the show to no one at 6 a.m.
That's just called getting old. But it used to be you wouldn't show up for work. So I like the fact you've now advanced to the point where if you win one of these suckers, you're at least going to show up for work.
I'm going to do two things for you. One is I'm going to show up for work, and two, there's going to be enough money put in for that grandchild that we don't have to worry about anything for the grandchild. Those are the two things in my head that I would do right away for you. I give you some money, but we'll take care of the grandchild.
Well, I mean, I'd like a Happy Meal out of it.
Yeah, you'd get something.
Okay.
I might even buy you your own White Castle franchise.
What? Now you're talking. If I'm going to go out of business, I want to go out of business trying to make a White Castle work. That would be great. Felipe, you showing up tomorrow if you win? 530 million?
Yeah, I just brag the whole time.
Okay, that's good though. That's good. We need somebody to get us on the air. I will say this: you win the 530, you got to find your replacement.
Oh yeah,
The onus is on you.
I'll compensate him a pretty fair amount,
However
as
it
well
is.
as you guys, of course.
I mean, you don't owe us anything, but you need to find your replacement.
You know what I'll
can't just
do?
leave
I'll
us
buy you
hanging.
guys a new studio.
Because you got to remember, we're the type
Give
of
me a
people.
Bronco.
We'll,
I'll give you a pink Bronco. How about that?
As long as it's the one that the top comes off of, I've got no problem what
There you
color it
go.
is.
I've been negotiating with the lottery gods lately. Once it got to, like 440 and change, I just, I'm at a traffic light and I've been talking to the lottery gods going, listen, come on. You know who I'm married to. We're giving away at least half this. I mean, come on. Of all the people you could give it to. I mean, don't you want to do some good here? I mean, because you know where this money's going. So come on now. It hasn't helped. I mean,
No.
the thing's been over 400 million for like a month. So, I mean, it's not working, but I've been negotiating, been trying to get my 2 cents in.
I'm glad that you try to
Sure.
philosophically speak to lottery gods
Hey.
as to your chance of winning.
I believe in the sports gods. Why wouldn't you believe in the lottery gods?
How many times have the sports gods let you down?
Well,
More than they've been there for you?
Sure. I mean, my favorite baseball team hasn't won the World Series in over 35 years. My favorite hockey team hasn't won in 28 years and counting. I mean, my favorite basketball team hasn't won in almost 50. Yeah. I mean,
So they owe you.
well,
Do the sports gods owe you?
I don't think so. No, I don't. Because although I didn't get a parade with the basketball team that I root for because I was too young. I was 7. But, my baseball team gave me a parade. My hockey team gave me a parade.
Football team's giving you quite a lot.
Gave me 4 of them. Right. So, no, I don't feel as if they owe me anything. But I don't think they're taking my calls either. I don't
That's
think they're
kind of
looking
how
out
I
for
feel
me.
because all my teams as well.
Right.
Yeah, I've watched all my teams win. And even though the football team that I root for, Michigan State at the college level, hasn't won at the highest level, they've won enough for me. They've exceeded what my expectations were for them.
But
So-
David, do you think it's mandatory that the basketball gods make the Knicks and the Mets suffer the way they do?
Well, I don't think they're making them suffer. See, I don't. I don't blame the gods for that. No, to be that bad, that's on you. Okay, it's just so you need a little fortune to win the last game of the year. That we've talked about. Most people don't want to accept that. You need some fortune to win the last game of the year.
But I can tell you the one thing I'm going to do with the lottery gods. If it were to come, I would go Elon Musk because I saw the pictures of him, shirtless on the yacht. And I was on a boat over the weekend, and I kept the swim shirt on. I win that money. Be lucky to have pants on for a month.
Are you going to be like that guy who walked through the CNBC live shot in his underwear?
I'd be doing the live shot in my underwear, Moulton.
Well, that I expect. I expect you to be sitting there on Zoom.
In fact, you're not going to like it on Twitch tomorrow if I win this thing. That's all I'm saying. Phil Mickelson, look out.
I expect you to be doing the show via Zoom, okay, scantily clad from the belly button down. That I do expect, okay, but it wasn't. If you haven't seen it, go to your favorite social media. Very esteemed woman, okay,
CEO of an asset
Exactly.
company on CNBC doing the live shot, and I don't know if it's her boyfriend or husband or whoever the hell it was, comes walking through the back in his underwear.
Yeah, he had to go to the bathroom. Okay, so he had to make his way through the shot, and not only that, blue.
Yeah, and the cats were meowing before that. I mean, it was a hell of a live shot on CNBC yesterday morning.
It sure was. But so 530 million, you figure after taxes, what are you looking at? About a quarter of a bill? About 250?
Works for me.
Ooh, someone in the Twitch chat goes, does 500 mil bring back the U?
Well, John Ruiz.
John Ruiz is trying, and he's got more than 530 million.
Yes, he does. He doesn't need to win.
I think it's all talk. I think he's talking out of his you-know-what.
But I'll do another at a traffic light on the way home after the show. I'll be like, listen, this is our last chance. All right. I'm just saying. All right. Of the 250 million after taxes, at least 100 of that is going to charity. So what do you say? A little something for the effort? I know you're probably looking at that family of 7 in West Virginia. And yes, they need it more, but I'm just saying. So just, final attempt.
Just want to hear in the morning if the winning ticket was sold in Estero, Florida.
Yeah, there you go.
That would be a good start to the day.
That'd be very exciting in the 239.
Really would.
That would be awesome, man. The local TV stations would be going bonkers if that happens. Oh my goodness. It'll be like a weather storm. They'll be driving around doing live reports. What 7-Eleven? What Wawa? Where was this thing? A Publix? Oh my goodness. Poor people will be showing up for their morning coffee or do some shopping. There'll be 5 news crews.
KW says his uncle won $7 million. His life was hell for about 3 years. Everybody knocking on your door. I'll take my chances.
Just have to be able to say no, right?
And I'm good at that.
I mean, just you have to have a little rude in you, and you have to be able to say no.
Check.
I think you'd be pretty
Check.
good. I think you'd be good at it. Not only that, you live in a gated community. I mean, you got a head start on being able to keep people out.
Be a lot bigger gate pretty soon. Tell you that much.
I mean, my wife doesn't answer the front door now. We win this thing. Forget it.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth. that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah. So Marty, Bruce, you, and who else? Jeff?
Yeah.
Jeff Moulton, right?
Yep. Notre Dame wants $75 million to stay independent. Dennis Dodd wrote yesterday.
To stay independent.
To stay independent.
Meaning from
Notre
NBC.
Dame would remain independent if it can earn at least $75 million annually in media rights revenue from current broadcast partner NBC, sources told CBS Sports.
You could throw that in here.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep this to like shorter.
Mm-hmm. I do think we need to. I do. We're missing things, and I miss things, and you miss things. Like on July 8th, we didn't have. That was the day that LeBron, went to the Heat, chose the Heat, and things. There was something yesterday that we missed that I saw on Twitter, and I went, damn, that's something we would like. So I'm wondering if there's. I went looking. I couldn't find anything better than, where I think we get our info.
Yeah, that on this data.
Yeah. Right. I don't think we're missing world stuff. I think we miss sports stuff.
Occasionally. But I mean, usually I get the birth dates because I go to all the Baseball Reference and all those. I didn't do it yet. I literally didn't do it for Mondays. I'm like, and I forgot. I missed Bam. Like, unbelievable.
Ten seconds.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes until the top of the hour. Home stretch of Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday, the 19th of July. Thanks for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Seth Everett on the show tomorrow. And we'll talk some football. Don't kid yourself. We'll have some guests. They just haven't been booked yet. That's not a threat. I mean, I'm just saying. We'll talk some football tomorrow.
It's never a threat.
It's that time of year.
Yeah, there will not be. I mean, we did it this summer. We did a show in which we did not talk football. And literally, we were at about 9 o'clock, and I looked at David and I said, I don't think we've talked football this whole show. Do you think we can pull it off? And we did. We threw a no-hitter. But that's not going to happen again until July of 2023.
At least we don't want it to. That is for sure.
Little report that I caught here. Dennis Dodd, who does really good work for CBSSports.com, has an article that says Notre Dame is looking to get $75 million in annual media rights payout in order to remain independent. That basically, if they can't come up with $75 million, that they may be ready to join a conference.
That's because, they're making, what, 40 to 50 now? And they figure if they're making 75, they're in the area code of what the SEC teams are going to be making. Reportedly, the Big Ten teams are going to be making $100 million.
Do you think they can get to that number?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. 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 Here's the deal. Unless both CBS and NBC are going to be included in the next Big Ten media rights deal, in theory, one of them's going to be the loser. Well, you need something. Could you do better than Notre Dame football?
I don't think so.
And, oh, by the way, that's chump change compared to then you could do Notre Dame football and be the next media partner for the Big Ten. Or, I'm sorry, for the Big 12. Why not? I mean, the Big Ten's reportedly asking networks for $400 or $500 million a year. NBC's looking for 75. Let me get this straight. I lost out on the Big Ten. That sucks. So I can spend 75 on Notre Dame, and I can spend what? $2.25 on the Big 12? I mean, that's damn near $20 million a school, right? I mean, do they think they're going to do better than that?
They think they are. I don't think they are.
I mean, and that's the other thing you can say to the Big 12. We'll be your number one partner. You can go make a second deal. We don't care. Streaming service, whatever. I mean, and so you spend $300 million. Yes, you don't get any of the SEC in the Big Ten, but you get Notre Dame in the Big 12. I mean, it's not like you're putting something out there. It's decent, may not be great, unless Notre Dame's great.
Well, that's what you're banking on. And if you're giving that much money, you give them the potential to stay pretty damn good and pretty damn relevant.
Well, not only that, if Notre Dame gets great, you're getting them for $75 million. That's a steal. It's $10 million a home game. Think about it that way. $75 million. You're getting 7 home games a year. Is Notre Dame worth $10.5 million a home game?
It's got to be.
Gotta be.
Yes, absolutely.
So interesting report, though. I mean, when you see 75 million to not join a conference, to remain independent, I think that's great news for the ACC.
Yes. I also think it's good news for the SEC. I really do. I think we go beyond 16 here. I think the Big Ten ends up being the big winner. Because first off, that's where we think Notre Dame would go. A, they'd get Notre Dame. And then B,
they'd get the best of what's left.
Yeah, they go the Carolina, Miami, Virginia route, and they're at 20.
Or Stanford, if that, whatever one makes the most sense to them, because they're going to know.
Right. It also could be what keeps the Pac-12 together.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
All right, today, 1877, David, was the first Wimbledon. I'm not going to bore you with who wins, but it was 1877, the first Wimbledon. But in 1884, I will bore you with the names because it was the women's first Wimbledon. Maud beat her sister Lillian in 3 sets, and Lillian was pissed. Won 6-8, and then lost 6-3, 6-3. The fact that Maud's on there with the Williams sisters makes me laugh just a little bit. 1910, Cy Young wins his 500th game.
He would win 11 more.
1913, Billboard publishes what its earliest known last week's 10 bestsellers among popular songs. Melinda's Wedding Day is recorded as the first #1 song in the land. Today in 1922, Johnny Weissmuller is the first to break the 1-minute barrier on the 100-meter freestyle. 1936, Bob Feller makes his debut in the major leagues in relief in a loss from the Indians to the Senators. 1941, Tom and Jerry first appear under their own names under the cartoon The Midnight Snack. 1954, Elvis's debut single, That's All Right, is released. 64, Bobby Nichols wins the PGA over Jack and Arnie. 87, Feldo wins his first major, beating Azinger by 1.
Azinger finishes bogey to lose the British by 1.
92, Feldo wins his third Open, beating John Cook by 1.
That would be his last Open championship. Faldo, by the way, that day shot even par, 18 pars, when he won his first Open.
The Olympic Games in Atlanta opened today in 1996. Today in 98, Marco Miro wins his second major of the year. He'd already won the Masters, wins the Open in a 4-hole playoff. Mad Men debuted today on AMC in 2007, and it was today in 2009, David, that Stuart Sink wins in a 4-hole playoff with Tom Watson.
Watson flushed was it a wedge, a 9-iron, or whatever it was, hit it and got a huge bounce. The ball actually landed short of the green and took a huge bounce. If you ever watch and listen to the audio tape again, one of the announcers comments off of the bounce. It was Tirico and it might have been, let's see, Tirico's with ABC. It might have been Curtis. But maybe it was Faldo even, and just they react. They go, oh, I mean, the bounce was huge and rolled just off the back of the green. The pin was in the back. If the ball stays on the back, he's got like 10 feet to 2-putt.
Those born today that are no longer with us, Samuel Colt, the Colt revolver.
Right.
George McGovern and Stuart Scott. Those that are still with us celebrating their birthdays today, Eli Nastasi, Brian May, Anthony Edwards. You remember him, Dr. Green from ER. Vitaly Klitschko and Rick Ankiel, all celebrating birthdays today.
How old would Stuart Scott have been today?
Stuart Scott would have been 57 years old today.
The only thing I have, I guess the Rosetta Stone was found today. So, whatever that's worth.
Did I even bother you with
Go for it. What do you got?
Finals from a year ago today?
Wait, They were taking place in July?
Yes, because you have to remember, it was a weird season last year.
Well, no, and the 2 years before, we remember it was weird. You know, the bubble and all that. It was like August, September stuff.
And it was a forgettable series, but it actually ended up being a good series. Bucks Suns.
Yeah, no, last year's series actually was decent. Phoenix won the first 2. Milwaukee won the next 4.
Well, a year ago was Game 5, and Giannis had a really amazing play at the end of the game that probably don't remember. It led off a Drew Holiday steal, lob, dunk. No,
just remember.
I thought maybe a series ending when, significant.
Right.
And then Antetokounmpo throws it down. You don't remember that?
No. Once again.
Yeah, didn't think so.
Got to work on those resumes there for NBA and Magic and Heat. You know.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
You know what? The good is someone's winning $530 million tonight.
Are we sure?
Yeah.
All right.
One of us.
Right.
For the bad, we go to St. Cloud, Florida, where traffic on the turnpike stopped after a cattle hauler caught fire and dozens of cows blocked the roadway. Turnpike was closed in both directions. Traffic was diverted for nearly 4 hours as they had to move the cows along.
We actually had that happen in a snowstorm in North Dakota once. I'm trying to think which highway went when. I think I-29, I think 94 goes east-west. So it was I-94. And, had a live report actually from one side of the highway. The cows were nice enough to move to the one side of the highway. But needless to say, they were blocking it.
For the bad, or for the ugly, rather, we go to Flint, Michigan, where Kashante Short is suing Richard Jordan and did so in court trying to get $10,000 over a bad date.
Wait, what?
According to TMZ, she first filed suit back in 2020. She alleges that Richard deliberately and intentionally hurt her when he did not show and left on her mother's birthday, and her mom had just passed away. During the most recent hearing, Richard Jordan doesn't do much talking other than explaining this is a waste of the court time, says he's being sued for $10,000 because of a bad date. That's when Kashante starts arguing with Judge Herman Marble. You can hear her on the video yelling at him. At one point, the judge rips the face shield off to raise her voice to her. They end up moving it to a circuit court instead. I will do everything in my power to keep you updated on this story. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, July the 19th, 2022.
She's yelling with the judge?
At the judge,
And
yes.
the judge is
because the
yelling?
judge is telling her this doesn't belong in his court. Needs to be in a circuit court. How it even got there is beyond him. And
Right.
she was raising her voice to get above the judge.
Right. Okay. I don't like her chances in this one. I got to be
I don't
honest.
like her chances, period.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Just, I guess what? A no-show? And it was on the anniversary of her
Mother's death?
or on her mom's birthday. or
Mom's
whatever,
birthday,
so
rather.
right,
And mom had
she's-
just passed away. She wants 10 grand
Yeah,
for a date gone wrong.
that seems a little harsh. Seems a little harsh. I have to admit, I never stood anybody up on a date. I don't think I was ever stood up either. I had a girl bail on me late for a prom.
Ooh.
And I couldn't, obviously.
Couldn't replace her?
Right. So.
Did she go with somebody else?
I'm not sure, but I didn't go.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I know. Senior prom, too.
That's a kick right in the shorts.
It was a bummer. I mean, I didn't sue her for 10 grand, though. Or for 700, inflation, whatever it was back then.
Hopefully you didn't already have rented the tux.
Oh, no, I did. No, I was stuck for it. So I thought about going, but I mean, come on.
As a single?
Yeah. I mean, it just would have been awkward.
That's when you needed to find a college girl. Somebody that was really hot. You needed to go all Zach Wilson
Well,
at that point.
That is true. That is true. What I probably needed. And, come to think of it, my mom had a friend who had two beautiful daughters who were just a couple years older. And it's true. And I always told the one daughter I was going to marry her. You know what? That's exactly what I should have done. And in fact, Mom, if you're listening, how come you didn't tell me to call Beth Link? If really, Beth would have been perfect. Drop dead gorgeous, about 2-3 years older. Oh, man.
You've been Zach Wilson before Zach Wilson. But the difference is he's got that dog in him, and apparently, David, you lack some dog.
I did. I couldn't even think like one. Never mind be one. Man, unbelievable. What was wrong with me?
Top athletes who have that dog in them. Number 5, Zach Wilson.
I was going to say, it's going to be in the ESPN top 10 list. He's still only number 2 in Jets history, though. That's the thing. Zach, got to win a few more games, a lot more games, actually.
Got to win a lot more games, but you're on the right path.
You are. You've gone from honorable mention to making the list, but, Joe Namath's at the top.
I will say, but because of all this, the expectations for him have also risen with this.
No question. The hope has too, though, that, wow, this guy can be decent. This is the guy we want to be our franchise quarterback. But, yeah, hey, don't save your best work for, off the field, buddy.
We went the whole show not mentioning probably the most important girlfriend statement made is Gronk's girlfriend said she doesn't believe his retirement.
Right. It's true. Camille there said, I think him and Brady are just kind of, they're joshing everybody. Yeah, retired, unretired, retired.
I just don't believe this one. Didn't seem like it to me.
Right.
I know when he's lying.
More than most. Yes. I guess
he has no clue when I am, but I know
when he's
lying.
Right. We need to ask Gronk's mom at this point. That's about the only one who hasn't chimed in. Miller and Moulton. Seth Everett will join us on the show tomorrow. All-Star game tonight. By the way, for a lot of people, it'll be your first exposure to Joe Davis. Remember, Joe Buck, no longer with Fox, no longer doing the games. Joe Davis doing the All-Star game tonight on Fox.
Bring your big